There we go. Okay, stream has started. Who wants the recap? As I minimize everything.
Notes.
Well, I'll give it a try.
Sure. I was going to give you a pass because I know you're running late, but go for it.
Yeah. Okay. We started off with only one guy left to fight, who quickly ran away. We tried chasing him, but couldn't find him. We then went and started searching through the boat, questioning people, and decided to call it in for the night. And I'm not sure, did we find an inn or something before the session ended, or were we still on our way there?
No, we found us in.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a long rest marked off, so.
Yeah, you guys finished the long rest.
Yeah. We found out a couple of things while we were questioning people. Thirstwell is the summoner. So he was the one that summoned the flying rat thing.
Much bigger than a rat, but sure.
And the Duke oversees the sewers, which explains why they were using the sewers. And what's his name? I'm horrible with names. Amaric. No. Yeah, Amaric. Had a visitor who smelled weird and was over 6 feet tall. Yeah, and we put the body of the brother in a bag of holding until we could get him to Zaj, blame Zaj to perform do a speak with dead with the guy.
He's not going to be happy about that one in particular.
Yeah, and then when we left off on the session, Flame Zaj had a bad feeling.
Yeah, with a bad feeling.
Indeed.
We're on our way to meet him now.
Indeed. Sharon, do you already have an inspiration?
No.
Well, Colin started it, and you filled in, so I'll let you guys pick who is going to grab it.
You can grab it.
Okay.
You had the details I missed.
Okay, yeah. So you guys had finished the long rest, got it the next day, and we're headed to Zaj. And anything anyone wanted to do before finding him and, jumping that shark?
This is going to be fun.
Okay,
Well,
so
I did say, actually.
Oh, right, yeah. Would you like to proceed?
Yeah, why not? We'll take a point of damage.
In what manner are you damaging yourself?
Probably take my sword and pinprick myself on the tip or something like that.
Okay.
Oh, you wanted to see if you can heal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, halfway to the gate, you guys notice Warden just kind of stop and just pull out his sword and just kind of poke himself in the knee. Takes 1 point of damage, and then reaches up, puts a hand on his own chest, tries to heal himself, expends 1 point of lay on hands. Nothing happens.
Ah!
What? This
So
doesn't make any sense. Do I know of anything that would keep him from healing? Anything at all?
I can't subtract it from Boundary, but I'll subtract it from my D&D.
I mean, there are
Sheet.
any number of stories of things that can, prevent magical healing.
It's got to be a curse, right?
Nothing comes to mind that he did recently.
It's gotta be a curse.
It's
Wonder,
It's
I've
just-
somehow been
Detect magic-
cursed.
Will a detect magic pick up a curse?
Nope.
No, not necessarily, no.
so if he's been cursed somehow,
Besides, we've already done
Have-
detect magic.
do I don't think I have I don't think I can remove curse yet.
Nope, you're not level 5 yet.
I I don't think I did that. I think I got rid of it.
Valentina sees Warden do that in passing, and she just sort of pauses and looks at him and says, "Are you still unable to recover?"
It appears so. It's very strange.
Something ill has befallen you. We need to discover what it is before it becomes dire.
Agreed.
Do you have any recollection upon being beset by something, or
I'm trying
having
to
seen
remember.
something, perhaps what
When
we
was
saw
it?
Do we know
earlier
when
in
it
the...
started? Yeah, do we know when it started?
Did he heal when he slept? Did you heal as
Yes.
you slept?
Yes,
Okay. All right.
which is
So
the
you
entire
do-
reason I felt comfortable doing that.
Okay. So you slept and you healed, but
All
but
magical healing appears to
doesn't work.
not work.
When was the last time that you laid on hands on yourself, or you healed yourself magically? Was it when we were down in the sewers?
I believe so.
So it wasn't something that we did in the sewers then.
Well, we raided that, what used to be that treasury,
We did.
and I think
Did we not go over
I think we
those?
vandalized some of the statues. I don't know. I know my character did that, but I don't know if
So
he had-
I remember the DM saying that you guys felt something off, and then we just ignored it.
Did that happen?
Well, out of character, I think there was a point where we had to make some saving throws, and, you know, the result might be what it is, but I don't recall exactly when that was.
So when we
It could have also been because of those statues,
hmm
and it just hasn't become apparent for Alexander because he's taken virtually no damage since then.
and he can't heal anybody.
So in
Well,
that
do
room
you
with the
want to prick
statues, did you
yourself
feel
and
anything
see if-
odd?
yeah.
I really don't. Player me doesn't remember if we did or not.
And out of character, was it just Warden and Alexander?
It was just us two that knocked over the statues. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the rest of us were like either farther away or not in the room.
You were busy exploring other things at the time,
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
so it could be that.
Yeah. I am sure with perseverance, my sister will be able to eliminate whatever ails you. Give us some time, and perhaps not jump into too much danger before then.
I will be cautious.
I'll do the jumping for you, and she winks. So we continue.
Yeah.
Okay. So you finish the remainder of the journey to the Basilisk Gate. As before, have to get one of the other guards and either ask or, in this case, as soon as you mention you're looking for Zaj, they direct you to him. One of them leads you into one of the nearby barracks that is built against the outer wall, and they lead you inside to a fairly narrow but kind of long establishment within the barracks that, you find Zaj sitting at a table with a bowl of fresh porridge in front of him, and he's just about to take his first bite, and then he sees out of the corner of his eye all of you led in by one of the other guards, and you see he instantly sighs and sets the spoon down.
Believe we should allow him to eat his breakfast in peace.
We get some breakfast, and then we can discuss it after everyone eats.
Mm-hmm. We go and stand in line to get the food. Give him a little wave.
As soon as you guys see him and then go to turn around, what are you doing?
Getting breakfast?
Are you taking a guard shift on the wall today?
We kind of took a guard shift last night.
So that's a no.
We have need to discuss things with you, but my companions believe that perhaps we should wait until you break your fast before engaging with you.
He quickly takes a bite of the porridge. You see him swallow it very quickly. There, fast broken. Now, sit down. Tell me what's going on.
Perhaps a quieter place with less eyes and ears.
Oh.
Discretion. You wanted us to do discretion.
He picks up his bowl, begins to stalk out of the room, and just seems to expect the five of you to follow.
Valentir will follow him.
I follow.
Yeah.
This poor man.
It goes a bit farther. You see, there are a number of structures kind of built leaning against the wall, which, makes a lot of sense for the guard stationed here. But he goes past a couple, and then you see this just small little, 10 foot by 10 foot, single room attached to one of the walls, and he goes to it, he opens it up, he peers inside, and you hear him say, "Go check on your men, make sure they're all up and about, I need to borrow your office." And you see another guy kind of huddle out, looking a little confused as he looks back, and Zaj just stalks in. Assuming you guys follow him in, there is a small desk at the back. There are a couple of mannequins with a few sets of armor set up on them, and it just looks like a captain of the Fleming Fist's office, recently vacated. Zaj makes makes it clear he doesn't really stand on ceremony, and he just walks around behind the desk, sits back down, puts his bowl of porridge in front of him, and begins to take a couple spoonfuls and just munch on it while he eyes you all and waits for you all to filter in and just kind of gives you the floor.
Are you sure these walls are not thin?
Let's just get this out of the way, okay?
This space will do.
As you wish. Valentir just sort of, she's standing aside, steps, in front of him, and she's, holding the bag, but she doesn't open it. She hasn't opened it yet. But she looks for the rest to see who's going to start talking before she does.
Okay,
Alexander's perfectly willing.
There's no great way of breaking this.
Did Alexander want to do it?
No, he's perfectly willing to let Valentina do this.
Yep. Same for
Yeah, I think the
Moon,
most
she's all
brash
like-
of us should be the one to break the news.
yeah.
Yep.
Right? Okay, she looks
And the
around,
more sturdy.
eyes her sister, and then she turns back towards Zaj and says, "We have what I would consider dire news about the state of your city and those that dwell within, and indeed some proof of what has been occurring. I think it will not be to your liking, as it is not to mine. There are traffickers with fiends within your city, and those of a noble birth, or at least those of the upper echelon of whatever it is that you consider your citizens. And she says,
I'd probably start
of this.
with the crown if I were you.
Say again?
Probably start with the crown rather than the dead body.
Crown.
Remember
Remind me of the
the
crown.
crown?
What's the crown?
The
crown with the dragon heads.
dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, okay. I don't have that, so you have it. So,
Just back into
she says,
and I'll walk forward with it.
she says, amongst the evidence, before we get any further, there was this that we found. A crown that marks some association or affiliation with the Dead Three, and she looks over towards Warden.
No, not.
No.
No, not at 3, with Tiamat.
Oh, sorry. See, I told you, I totally forgot about this crown, man. And so, with,
Yeah.
with the multi-headed dragon that dwells in the hells, and she then motions towards Warden.
Yeah, I will step forward and pull it from my pack, because I forgot I was the one. Forgot I put it in my pack.
This was found inside a room below decks of, I guess it's the Low Lantern. Is that the name of the place?
The low lantern, yeah.
Yeah. Below decks of some miscreant establishment named the Low Lantern.
The place that I told you to go check out.
Yep.
And here you are in what we have found. But there's more, of course. We shall discuss the family of Van Thampur, who we now know traffics with fiends, likely with cultists.
Okay.
And here then is the evidence. And who has the thumb? I think Kate has the thumb.
We already gave him the signet.
Oh,
ring.
he has the thumb?
He
Okay.
has the signet.
I think Stuart forgot,
Here's
like,
a signet.
all of session before last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's seeing the signet ring, he's seeing the finger, and
But who has the finger?
I have the finger.
Kate.
Right. That's what I thought. So
I
she,
pull out the finger and I put it on the table in the jar. It's in the jar. And I put that on the desk in front of him.
Doesn't even blink, just continues slowly eating his food.
as mentioned, this thing was found in the bathhouse, as you well know.
The
And
sewers,
here's
if I'm not mistaken.
Aye. And here's its owner. And she takes off her the belt and she upends it because well no.
No.
Not upends it. She just she opens it and then she reaches in and then with some effort she's going to take out the body and dump it on the floor.
I mean, is there anything else even in the bag?
Yes, there's a couple things.
Oh, okay.
Is there?
Okay.
Okay. There's that vile spellbook is in the bag. I don't know what else is in there besides that's all I have written down.
Oh, yeah.
Cooking utensils and such.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
he did say that he would like you to carry those. So.
Cooking utensils?
And then he just upended it, all of his cooking utensils.
No,
I didn't.
He
I
corrected
just pulled
himself.
out the So, but I will put cooking utensils in the bag holding. And so then she dumps out the body.
Yeah, so as you pull it out of the bag, I imagine, maybe have Caitlin hold one end of it and get Warden to reach in and grab a hand, because it's a big
Sure.
body, and you guys eventually are able to slowly but surely drag this corpse in the middle of this office out of the bag of holding, and it just drops to the floor.
Moon is just in the corner, head in her hands, just shaking her head like, we could have done this so much differently. Why did we do this?
We had Valentira lead this because I really don't think there was a better way. And might as well be as direct as possible.
This sight does cause him to stop eating, spoon halfway to his mouth. As, first a hand emerges, and then a second, and then a head, and then massive shoulders, and the...
We thought maybe you could have somebody...
What my sister is trying to say
one.
is that here then to the point is Mortlock of House Van Thampera, and if we wish to question him, perhaps you have someone who can do so. I can tell you about the circumstances leading to his demise, and why he is here before you.
I was going to save his life.
He seems to recover a little bit, takes that bite of porridge, and then sets the spoon down. Yeah, I think you'd better go ahead and tell me the circumstances surrounding his death.
Alright, so she's going to recount our expedition to the low light, staking it out, and waiting, observing who went in, and then she has no reason to dissemble, so she will tell about the meeting we initially had with Emmerich, and his request based on the
spine devil.
Oh yeah, that's like one of the first things she says, and which led to the initial distrust, and then how we returned for further questioning, and we saw before we went in, entering this large man with a few others who we believe to be Mortlock. And then when we actually went down and started to attempt to have a further discussion with Emmerich, his guards got in our way. We did not technically start the battle, but she will say that they wish to do their duty to protect their employer. We also she'll recount the agreement that we made to eliminate the fiend who unfortunately escaped, and then she'll describe the encounter that led to bloodshed and the escape of Emmerich, the death of his brother, and
At that
the
point,
poison cloud that
Yes,
I type in and
place.
say I was reaching to get to do spare the dying when I was attacked by the brother, and then he did the poison cloud.
And then the further questioning of the guards who also gave us some information about Thurswell as well, and I don't have the actual notes, but I'm pretty sure it was indicated that, or was implied.
Point out that we were going to save Emmerich, but Thurswell hit him with that poison thing.
No, Emmerich hit Mortlock with the poison.
Emmerich hit Mortlock.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thurswell is the oldest, who's like apparently sickly, doesn't leave the home. But what we found out from the actual guard, I think, was, or somehow we found this out, was there was an implication that Thurswell might be the one orchestrating things.
Mm-hmm.
And
That they have been
Yeah.
smuggling people in who have been disappearing, and there's a possibility that they're being sacrificed.
Yep.
Throughout this, whole long recounting of everything that happened, you can see he's just listening. He's not twitching or anything. There's no vein popping out of his forehead like you guys might have expected. And then when you mention the smuggling and people disappearing, at that point he actually arcs an eyebrow a little bit and then holds up a hand to get you to stop talking for a second, and then gets up from behind the desk, runs around to the front, or not runs, but walks around to the front door, opens it up. Doesn't actually leave, but just kind of leans out, and you hear him bark, "You! Yeah, I don't care what you're doing right now. Bring me the girl, and make it fast. And you, I don't care what you're doing either. Head back to my quarters and get my flask. Make that fast, too." And then he shuts the door and moves back around. Sits down at the desk again.
I just give him a look of understanding at the mention of the flask.
Okay. And then he... Warden, lock that door for me and just wait till you hear a knock and let me know when they're back.
Very well.
I just don't want them walking in and seeing the son of a noblewoman on the floor here and spreading rumors.
We can put him back in
I'll
the
lock
bag
the
of
door
holding.
and sit down to block it.
I offer to put it back in the bag of holding.
He's fine there for now. Just there, grab that. Just rip that off the wall. He points to a tapestry hanging from the wall. Just rip that off the wall and just, cover his head just in case. If we need to, we'll put him in the bag, but it's fine for now.
Okay.
So, couple questions. And he looks at the desk where the finger is sitting in the jar. Then he gets up, moves around, and grabs hold of the hand of Mortlock and verifies it is indeed missing a finger. Kind of nods, sets the hand back down, goes back to his chair. Okay, you said trafficking or dealing with fiends. I heard one fiend. Have there been more than that?
Imps,
yeah.
several.
Attacked.
But just a couple imps and the one with all the spines.
There was
Is that right?
4 imps?
And then
4?
Yeah, it was 4.
Erstwhile Guard did hear something about Erstwhile doing something with things.
Yeah, Volunteer will indicate that there were 4
Summoning.
imps, as well as the Spine Devil, and what Candy just mentioned.
Look, I get it. It's just that imps are more common than you'd think. At least I see a lot more of them than you'd expect, given my line of work. It's kind of like a status symbol to have a imp familiar, depending on the circles you run in.
Okay.
Deep frown from Valentira.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. Before you get your panties in a bunch, I'm just saying it's not condemning. The spine devil is a bit more concerning, but if there's only one, and I
that
don't
we saw.
have true that you saw, I'm not saying there aren't. Okay, look, I'm coming at this from the perspective of an official who has to do things a certain way, right? I don't want to have to do things that way, but it's how it is. So, yeah, just one that you saw, and I've only got your word to go on regarding it being a fiend in the first place.
And the
Not
people-
so.
Yeah.
What do you mean not
I don't
so?
think anybody at the lantern
What the-
will
What?
Corroborate?
Thank you. Mouth work. Our story.
Remind me, what did we do with the 2 guards?
We let them go.
Wait.
Did we let them go?
We got their names. I'm trying to remember.
But they were planning on leaving right away.
Yeah.
Even if someone at the lantern was willing to come forward and corroborate, most people don't know what the hell a fiend is to start with. No pun intended. So... Remind me again, why did you start the fight in the first place?
Yeah. Oath of the Guardians.
Oath of the Watchers.
Red
But
Watchers,
no,
right.
After the fiend escaped, we merely wished to speak with Amric, and he seriously did not want to. And his guards attacked as a result.
And where precisely did that happen?
Was it the
The
third?
Lowland.
Second level of the Low Lantern, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, technically on Amric's property.
No. The lady on the boat said that she owned it.
She owns the boat, he rents that floor, so technically, legally, as long as he's paid up and their contract is good, it's his property.
Hmm.
Okay.
Are you gonna arrest us?
Not yet. Look, I believe you, okay? I'm on your side with this. I've never much cared for the Van Thampors. They have always been a bit shady,
well,
is kind
yeah.
of, putting it loosely. But that doesn't mean I can do whatever I want. Unlike them,
We-
most of the time.
Right. And we know that the Duke does oversee the sewers.
Sure.
We found the cult under the bathhouse in the sewers.
And a intentionally closed off section of the sewers
Sure.
as well.
Maybe the cult's the one that intentionally closed it off. Do you have anything that links her directly to knowledge underneath these sewers, or this cult?
Merely suspicions, no.
That's what we call circumstantial.
Not her, but the brother Grimm. I mean, his finger was found down there.
Sure.
That's
And
kind of
if I'm not
why-
mistaken, you just told me that you've confirmed through speaking with the guards that they've been smuggling people.
Yeah.
I have been dealing with quite a few kidnappings. Do you have any evidence that he wasn't just kidnapped by this cult?
the fact that he was walking around fine, other than missing a finger.
Was he? Because he looks pretty dead to me.
He was alive.
Again, I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm saying I need actual evidence. And so far, all I have is your testimony.
Or you can, speak to
A
Dad.
zone of truth?
Sure, I can speak to dead. Do you know how that
No,
spell works?
They're allowed to lie.
They can lie, but
Or just not answer?
or just not answer.
Okay. Why don't you do a zone of truth on us?
Because we can do the same
Needs to get a
thing.
very specific person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone not under my employ. I'd have to bring this to the Dukes themselves and get them to hire an unbiased third party to come in and cast that spell.
We're trying not to go there.
Yeah, not yet,
I got-
exactly.
Right. So, me thinking, his brother did kill him.
That matters not.
Why would his brother make sure his? Why would one brother?
We all
make
know
sure
that
the
his
other
brother is guilty.
died?
It is a matter of proof. Why don't we
No,
simply go to
no,
the house
this
of
is-
Van Tampa and get it?
No, that won't work.
Oh,
That won't work.
Why not?
There's no way. I mean, Val, there's no way they'll let us in, number one. Number two, the other brother went running home, probably. So they'll know who we are when we show up.
It's
So unless we're
interesting.
going in prepared to fight the Duke, and I tell you, I don't think we should do that. We need to find evidence another way.
Perhaps there's more than one way inside. We need not go and bash down their front door. Although that is my preference, but
and
there may be another way.
how
However,
quiet have we been historically?
Honestly, busting down the front door might be our best option at this point.
it could be. Sister, why do you shirk from the most direct route when it will give us the answers that we seek?
We have somebody here who I cannot heal.
Wait, what?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Warden hasn't been able to be healed
Magical
since
healing
we've been
is...
in the sewers.
Yeah, it's not working.
Oh, great. There's a knock at the door behind you, Warden.
I suppose that's who you've been waiting for, I say as I stand up.
He comes up from behind the desk as well, comes over, unlocks the door, opens it, and you see a hand get thrust in, holding a flask, and he takes the flask and says, "Back to what you were doing." Closes the door, shuts it. Immediately unstoppers the flask, takes a long drag of it, and as soon as he opens it, Warden, I know you don't need to breathe, but I imagine you can still smell things.
Yeah.
You can immediately smell. It's something quite potent in that flask, and he takes a long, deep drink from it.
It's ever clear.
It's Baldur's Gate Everclear, so 3 times as bad.
Okay,
Down
so
in the sewers, there were statues that were depicted the 3 gods of
The
murder.
dead 3.
And Warden here handled at least one of them. Perhaps he is cursed. I presume, do you have someone who might be able to lift this curse from him?
Only one of them's dedicated to murder, he says as he stoppers the flask again and goes back to his chair.
The others of the grave and of tyranny, yes.
I might have someone who can take care of it, but again, you all are technically not part of the ranks. So I'd need to explain to my bosses what we're doing there at the moment. Which I might be able to swing. Here's the thing. We're getting to the point where we're gonna need to figure something out fast. And like your friend here says, the more time goes on, the more busting down the front door is going to be our best option. You can skulk about and keep investigating if you want.
no, I think we should get in, but maybe there's an alternative than through the front door. We already know that they have shown a tendency to use the sewers. Is there anybody who knows anything about the sewers who is not connected to this family? Who would, like, I don't know.
Are you suggesting we find smugglers?
I
believe those are our best bet.
Yeah. So I'm thinking if we can enter the sewers close to the Duke's house, there might be an underground way into the Duke's house from the sewers. If they're using the sewers to smuggle people in and out, does that make sense?
Even if they are, there's no guarantee that they're using the sewers beneath their villa.
That is true.
It's not a bad thought. If you want to go searching around, it's just...
And yet,
time.
this Thirstwell is known to not leave his home, and he resides within the villa, yes?
Yes.
Then if he is truly the one who may be summoning these fiends, orchestrating these vile deeds, then it is more likely that they are using the villa for such purposes.
Yeah, it's possible. I didn't say it was not. My point is... Look, they're smart. And first off, I seriously doubt Thirstwell is the one orchestrating everything. He might be the one doing the summoning. Trust me. The Lamra's in charge. If you'd ever met her, you'd know. But they're also smart. I don't know if they're going to be running a smuggling operation through their home in the upper city.
But there would be
Now, they
Well-
might be. Again, this is speculation. There might be that you could go into the sewers and find a way in there. I don't know how long it's going to take you to find the way in there. And if there is a way, it's certainly going to be protected in one way or another. So, you have to be careful if you do that. It's going to take time. No guarantee that there's a route from the sewers that can get you into their house.
There's that. But also, Flame Sarge, you have indicated yourself that you have been looking into kidnappings and disappearances of people, likely related to those that are being smuggled. Have you any clues or information about where these people have disappeared?
Yeah, I've had a couple interesting talks recent, and there's another knock at the door. Perfect timing. Out from behind the desk again, over to the front door, unlocks it. This time, there are two people standing outside. The one member of the order that he sent running off, and a young woman. She has, well, here, I can actually find a picture for you. I think it's already here. I forgot to pull it up. If I could spell. No? Where is it? I will find it and I'll post it in the Discord instead. Here we go. Okay. So yeah, younger woman, kind of dark reddish brown skin, dark red hair, and wearing some decently sturdy leather armor. When you can see a little bit of chain sticking out from underneath it, has a long sword and kind of a dagger strapped to her belt as well. Here is the image. There you go. Looks a little uncomfortable. You don't see a badge from the Flaming Fist anywhere. And Zod just kind of grabs her by the arm and kind of yanks her into the room and gives a nod for the other guy to go running off. And again, shuts the door and locks it.
Is she wearing any fur gear or not?
She is, yeah, she's wearing all that.
Alright.
Sword not drawn or anything, though. Ladies, gentlemen. What was that?
I lean up against the door again.
Oh, gotcha. Ladies, gentlemen, this is Rhea Mantlemorn. Rhea Mantlemorn. These are... I'll just give her your names.
I'm Moon.
And can you spell her?
Yep. I'll
It's
put
a
it
pleasure
in
to
the
meet
Discord.
you.
So I double check my spelling.
Alexander says, well met. My name is Alexander.
There you go.
That's actually exactly how I expected that to be spelled.
No,
For
give me
once. So, names from two so far.
Greetings.
This is Val,
I am known as Warden.
and this is Val and Kate.
Oh wow, I literally said that and I was on mute. Okay. I was like, why is she saying the same thing I just said?
Nice.
Oh, good job.
She gives you all a nod in turn, and she's already been introduced, so she just doesn't say anything at the moment. Once Zod drops back down into his chair. Yeah. Rhea here is from El Terrell. I can fill them all in unless you want to, Rhea. And she looks about a little warily. Yes, the flame speaks true. I am from El Terrell. I am one of the Hell Riders. Do any of you know what that means?
We do.
Yes.
Oh, good. That makes things a bit more simple. I was outside the city training when it disappeared.
When all the hells broke loose, basically.
Luckily, I don't think they broke loose at all. Otherwise, this would be a very different situation. But I take your meaning, yes. We soon found that there was a organized effort to bring as many of the surviving refugees as possible to Baldur's Gate, and so we fell in with a group and did our best to guard them on the way. Since then, I've noticed a pattern happening. A number of men came to groups of people encamped outside of the wall and offered to get them inside of the city if they could prove their lineage within Elturel. A number of people did have such proof on their persons, and they were able to demonstrate that they did indeed come from the city and that their family went back generations within the city. However, it was not simply anyone that could prove their lineage that they accepted. Best I could tell, they were looking for a very, very specific descendant. Those with ancestry within the Hell Riders.
Oh.
That's not good.
They were coy about it at first. They would find reasons to discount the lineage of other members. Say that the seals could not be verified, or that they didn't recognize names and would have to do research, and then simply never came back. But those that were apparently related in one way or another to the Hell Riders, they were more than willing to sneak them within the city.
This is not good.
And
No,
after
it's not.
Vengeance of the
that they're
Hells
being-
is...
And let me guess, they were never seen again.
I have not been able to locate any yet, no. I, for a time, stayed with the encampment, but after seeing these individuals appear several nights in a row, I accepted one of the offers to get within the city myself, and at the first opportunity I broke away, and eventually found myself speaking with Flame Zodge here.
You had to. Okay. When you say break away.
I simply left.
Oh.
And these people you spoke to, they looked like what?
People. Humans. Men. They wore dark leathers, walked with their hoods up.
Did they bear any symbols?
I never got the chance to examine any of them thoroughly, but none that I saw.
Did they smell weird?
They smelled like the rest of this city.
Did they indicate where they were leading you to?
No, in fact I asked, and they said to not ask questions until we were safely arrived, and then things would make more sense.
What was the method with which you gained entry?
They had routes through the sewers. Me in particular, as well as a few others, they brought around to the docks, and apparently there are a number of grates there that they can remove at will, and it's a little bit of a swim, though nothing too hazardous. And then once we were in the sewers proper, smelling far worse than before, they would blindfold us and then lead us to wherever it was we were supposed to go. I simply, when the time came to disembark the ship and swim, I simply swam a different direction.
And just how many of them were you? Were there?
There were only two of us when I was led within the city.
Okay. Does this sound familiar? I pull out my notebook And I wrote down the song that was sung in the tavern.
The Song of Elturel?
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
What about it?
right.
Okay, so the words from the Song of Elturel.
Are they posted anywhere?
mentioned-
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little ways up in the general chat, you posted them.
Mhm. Let me
Yep,
go to
there it
them.
is.
There's a part of them that mentions something. Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? All right. We are bound by a mortal covenant that only ends with death.
So we sing a song.
Song of
Elturel.
Elturel until our final breath.
Are you saying that out loud?
Yeah, I kind of say it.
An oath that these outriders took. Noble
Oh,
and quite understandable.
indeed. Whenever we come of age within the ranks of the Hell Riders, we swear an oath to the city to protect it, to lay down our lives if necessary, and to see Elturel freed.
Did many of you survive the city's fall?
Actual Hell Riders? No.
Yes.
Well, there were only 5 of us on our training mission. The other 4 that were with me, they're scattered to the winds, hoping to find other refugees and let them know what's happened and see how many have survived.
There was when did we get the indication that there was the Hell Riders were that Elturel was a payment for? Where did we get that from?
That's just speculation on our end. That was very early on.
Yeah.
Okay. We didn't hear anything or see anything about it.
Oh,
Mm.
actually, didn't Alexander's father mention that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I looks over at Alexander and I say, your source mentioned that what happened at Elturel was a payment for a debt.
Yes. Kind of.
Is it a debt specifically against the Hell Riders?
And their
The
descendants?
impression I got was it was somebody made some kind of deal.
Mm.
Because it wouldn't have been if they were going out for revenge against the Hell Riders, he wouldn't have put it that way.
No, I'm thinking that the Hell Riders and their descendants were the payment for the debt.
Hmm.
Rhea, have
Hey,
you been in
our-
contact with any of
Speculation.
your companions?
Yes.
And
So
not
that would
since- Not since they scattered. As I said, we fell in with some other refugees, made it here to the city, and shortly after they went their separate ways to see who they could find. I haven't spoken to them since.
We are beginning to think that perhaps all those who associate directly or have some connection with the Hell Riders might be
in danger.
in some sort of danger, yes. What was your next intent?
I don't know. There are a number of rumors abound, and I thought perhaps I might investigate some of those and see if there's any truth to them.
Well,
What sort?
There's a rumor that one of the the High Overseer of Elturel has survived.
He looked like.
Thavius Krieg. Yes?
That's him, yes.
We have heard the
What?
same.
Yes. What does he look like?
Oh, geez.
I just-
Hold, please.
I just had a very bad feeling.
Unremarkable, mostly. Bald-headed, a bit rounder. Getting up there in age, but
No, that
looks
doesn't
like a-
sound
an
like
older
any of the
male.
people we saw
Does he have a
underneath.
mini elephant thingy?
a what?
He refers to an Oliphant. It is a being from
Oh,
a different
Lulu.
plane. You are aware?
Yeah, most of us have seen Lulu at one point or another, yes. She kind of stands out.
Definitely a one of a kind.
Does her description match the priest that we were speaking
Well,
of?
she was actually just about to say. But she spent most of her time with, wow. Martin, I think his name was? Something like that. But if you're asking if that was the High Overseer, no.
He was a priest. Did that description match any of the bodies we saw?
I mean, there were a couple of, older individuals. Wait, sorry, bodies where?
Underneath. Remember
In the sewers?
In the
guy
sewers.
that was in the sewers.
No. Nothing. No one from the sewers particularly rings that bell, and most of them are pretty skinny and malnourished and sunken faced. This guy sounds like he's a bit more portly.
there was a guy hanging up.
Oh
that
right, no.
had been tortured.
Nope, definitely not him.
Okay. Oh, by the way, did we just let our did we tell Zurge about that guy and
Zaj.
describe him? Zaj?
I think you did.
Did at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tiefling too.
Okay. Just want to be sure that we
What was the name of the elephant again?
Lulu.
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 Okay.
At this
okay,
point,
so-
Zaj has his feet up on the desk and takes another just quick swig from his flask. Rhea, why don't you tell him the rest of the rumor? I think they're going to be headed that way soon anyway. And she looks at him a little concerned, but eventually nods. I did my best to track the rumor back to its source, and it started when someone was seen matching this description in the company of a number of guards under the employ of the Van Thamper family.
Did he look under duress? Like he didn't want to go with them? Or
I can't say, honestly.
do you think he sold Elturel out?
For what purpose?
So
Does your
so
friend
this
know
is-
where they were headed?
Wasn't a friend of mine. As I said, it was a rumor. I simply kept asking who heard it from whom until I eventually got back to just a merchant at the Northern Gate. Apparently he traded often enough with Elturel, and he seemed to think he recognized the figure. But he lost sight of them moments later. He hadn't even realized that Elturel was in any kind of trouble yet, so when a man he thought was the High Overseer came into the city, he didn't seem to think much of it. It happened often enough to not be a particular note.
Was
Was there a plan for him to come to Baldur's Gate before the fall of Alterel?
To which
Was he
Zaj
used-
actually answers, no. As a matter of fact, other way around. Our Grand Duke, older Ravengard, actually was recently convinced to go to Elturel. As
Right.
you may recall, he was there when the city disappeared. Hence a lot of our current trouble, and certain dukes beginning to jockey for power.
Great googly.
A no connection seems to form. If this Duke Thalamra of Anthampor is responsible in some way with what has happened to Elturel as a mere means to gain power herself, perhaps in more ways than one, here in Baldur's Gate, and perhaps with some infernal deed below. Flame Sarge, you need evidence, of course, but as we say, we should not wait overly long.
I just need to be completely clear and upfront with you all.
Yeah.
I think
We
it's the
don't-
best option you have right now. We don't really seem to have anything else to go on. So if you do decide to smash and grab, you need to make damn sure you find something. And if you don't, you need to make damn sure you get the hell out of the city. If it goes poorly, I can't do anything for you. I might be head of the Flaming Fist right now. It doesn't mean much if I get on the wrong side of the Dukes.
Speaking of these dukes, have the Vanthampers any enemies amongst them? Those that might be persuaded to either look another way or even assist in our endeavor?
Maybe, but things like that, building those kind of relationships, they take time. The Dukes are paranoid. They're always expecting one or the other to try and stab them in the back. So if people just show up one day and say, hey, we want to take this Duke out, feel like helping us? They're not going to take too kindly to it. They're going to need to vet you. They're going to need you to prove your worth. I don't think we have that kind of time.
Especially if there are people being sacrificed.
Especially if Amric ran home last night and was able to tell his mother what's going on.
Well then, Rhea, you were taken at least some point within the sewers. Perhaps we can start there. If we seek to gain entry through that means.
She abandoned and swam to shore, I believe.
All I know is that the
If
entrance is somewhere in the docks. You want to go looking there, that's where you start, but Warden has the right of it. Once I was in the water, I swam a different direction.
Okay. We need an exit out when all is said and done. I don't think we're going to be able to do this quietly.
Well,
And because we're not going to be able to do it quietly, we're going to need an exit strategy.
well, if you find evidence, that's easy. If you have something concrete, solid, that ties the Duke to what's been going on, then I can back you up. Then I can walk you straight out of there and possibly even have some or all of them in manacles. Problem comes is if you don't find anything.
How then can we contact you when the time is nigh?
Well, I can have a few people stationed in the area keeping an eye on things, and can you make, I don't know, some kind of a flash of light just above the manor, maybe at the front gate? Something that will grab my people's attention, let them know you've got something, and come back you up.
I could possibly manage.
I'm sure between myself and my sister, or Warden here, we can do something of the sort.
That's great, we just need to figure out what that is now.
I don't have.
Perhaps some
Flame bolt shot
divine
into the
wings.
sky. Hey, Alexander has firebolt. He can just start basically firing off flares up into the sky.
Can you fire off 3 in quick succession?
One every 6 seconds.
That'll work. You can just fire a quick set of those, one after the other, straight up. That can be our sign.
Okay.
That'll work.
Now keep in mind, you have to have something solid. Some kind of proof. Okay? Because when I send my guys in, they're going to start off from the angle of pacifying whatever's going on. That means they're going to grab hold of you, they're going to grab hold of anyone else in the area, including the Duke if she's there, to de-escalate the situation. That's when you need to say, hey, we have this, and make sure it can't be denied. Then when we take a look at that, we can start leaning the other way. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Something that can't be denied. Like, okay.
Well, what we might try to do is rent a boat and just go down through the docks looking for the sewer entrances, see if we can find one that's been used.
We need to go through the front door. Val's right. Us looking for a way through the sewers is not going to work. We don't have the time for that.
Oh, do we have to go in the front door? How about the back?
It need not be the very front door, but we must gain entry into their villa. And however we do that, perhaps we shall find out once we get there. But then we must move swiftly, quickly, and find the evidence of dealings with their fiends and whatever summonings that they are doing. Evidence that Zarch here needs.
Mm-hmm. Before they destroy anything.
That is the issue. Doing it quickly sacrifices players.
Hey,
Well,
we're not very
we are nev-
stealthy, folks.
We are never the stealthiest group, so
Perhaps we can be so until the time requires our blades be drawn.
sure. Says the loudest person in our group.
At least she is made of flesh and bone.
Myself and Moon can probably try going over the wall first and leave some knotted ropes hanging over so the rest of you can get over there very quickly.
Well, we remember, first thing we needed to do is go case the place. I'm not. Yeah. I'm not the best at planning this sort of thing. I don't have a lot of experience.
We go, we see if they have any guards, where they are stationed, and then we find the point of the greatest vulnerability, and we breach it. Whether that is climbing ropes over the walls or going underneath, perhaps a cellar door, whatever it takes.
Okay. But we need to go look at the house first. But we need to do it in such a way that we're not obvious about it? I don't know.
Well, they probably are alerted to look out for us.
Yeah.
So we might be best if we wait till this evening.
Flame Zarch, when can you have your men ready?
I can have enough in the area within the hour.
What time is it in the morning?
We'll say it's 8.
You know, the brother Grimm, the one that Emmerich, is a night owl. If we wait till night, he'll be more aware. I just think if we're gonna do this, we need to do it now.
I agree.
I do have a spell I can use that could pop once we're inside the building or over the wall. I can use to try to locate his book that he keeps on his person all the time with his contracts in it.
Very well.
But I have to get close, within like 1,000 feet before it'll work.
See, sister, there's a way forward. Let us proceed.
Well, best of luck. Like I said, find something or be prepared to get the hell out of town. Kind of no in-between option there.
Okay. And
Do you
what's
want
your
to...
plan? I
Well-
look over at Rhea and I say, and what's your plan?
If I'm not mistaken, the Flame Hero has made it quite clear that I'm his guest for the time being. Yep, I can't let it be known that I've got a member of one of the Hell Riders walking around town that I haven't locked up. Bit of suspicion being thrown their direction lately. One of the popular theories is that they're responsible for the city disappearing. I don't believe it. I don't think Ray had anything to do with it, but if they find out that I didn't hold her for questioning, then I'm going to be locked up. So, yeah, Ray is my guest for the time being.
Do you have, can we acquire some healing potions at a friendly rate?
Yeah. I've got some standard healing potions. We get them at a discounted rate, so as long as you can... 35 gold apiece.
Okay. I will buy one.
I'll buy 2.
Yeah, Alexander will buy 2 also.
Sure. It takes a little bit. He has to go send a runner to get them, but, within the next 30 minutes, however many you guys want to buy, you can.
Yeah, the Volunteer is going to buy a couple as well.
I'm going to buy at least one.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
Volunteer will buy 2.
Did Alexander give someone a healing potion during the last fight?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
Because you weren't you didn't take any damage, guy.
Well,
No,
give
yes.
someone else a
Someone
healing
else.
potion.
We didn't use any. I don't even think that we had any.
Volunteer
Well,
had one.
Alexander had one.
So did Volunteer.
You mentioned it, Volunteer, but you didn't. We didn't use it. That was the only time it was mentioned, though.
So did everybody buy 2 potions of healing, or 1, or?
I bought one.
Yeah,
I bought
Alexander- Alexander got 2, so he has a total of 3.
Same with Volunteer. She has 3 now.
Yeah.
I bought 2.
And how many gold
Right.
pieces was that?
35 each.
And while we're standing there waiting for him to come back, I cast aid on
How long does that last
We've
again?
already established that my max health does not increase as well with it, so.
right. I on Moon, myself, and Val.
Oh.
Okay. So you guys get
Why?
Yeah, that's the better option.
5 max increase.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What? Oh, I messed up.
Did you take
What'd
it
you
away
do?
instead of adding it on?
I did something. Okay, there we go. I didn't do anything. What are you talking about?
Hmm.
Ah,
All right. What else do we need to ask before we go, if anything?
Jack.
Volunteer will ask Saj. Can you? She will ask for directions to the villa, the Van Thamper villa, and a description of it. And if he has any idea about, their guards and how many they might have, or anything like that.
He can describe it to you easily enough and tell you where it's located. As far as guards and defenses, that kind of thing. The Dukes maintain their own security. I know that they frequently have a number of guards patrolling the grounds. Once you get inside, I couldn't tell you. Never been in there.
Well enough. All right then. Why don't we proceed? The morning grows long.
Maybe we should rent an enclosed coach in case they have people watching for us.
Or we could just wear cloaks. It wouldn't be that off.
Alexander kind of looks up at his horns.
You may not be. There's some wisdom in your words, Alexander. If we can blend in with the citizens of this upper city until we gain access to the villa, it would make our travel there easier. I shall leave it to you to procure a coach for us.
Okay. There should be around the town. There should be coaches per hire.
Maybe like when we get to the entrance to the upper city.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be easy enough to find.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Okay. So, with a suitably grim nod from Zaj and Rhea, looking concerned and definitely like she wants to go with you guys, but as she almost goes to take a step forward as you guys are filtering out the door.
Yeah,
Zaj just puts
Val's
a hand
giving
on
her the
shoulder.
look like, come sister, you want to come with us.
Yeah, she clearly wants to, and then as she takes a step forward, Zod just puts a hand on her shoulder and just gives a little grunt and a shake of his head. Yeah,
We shall
unfortunately.
meet again, Rhea.
She hesitates for a second, says, "I hope so. I just say a few prayers that you all don't have to flee the city, and that we figure out what's going on. So, good
We will
luck."
speak again of deeds to come.
She nods, and then Zaj steps out with her in tow, shuts the office door, and goes the other direction, heading back towards the gate proper. Okay, and then you guys start making your way to the upper city?
Yup.
Alright, well, since it is exactly 8:31, we'll go ahead and take our break, and when we come back, we will transition to the other part of the city and see how you guys do.
okay.
So, back in a few.
All right.
I'm back.
Break time.
Oh, it's break time?
I'm gonna leave this go back.
What?
So, I'll give.
Just waiting on Sammy. Hey, there she is. Okay, so since we are all back, okay, so you guys exit the office with Zaj, head on through the streets, beginning to make your way back toward the upper city. You mentioned a carriage. When do you want to look for a carriage? Once you're in the upper city?
Oh, once we're about to enter it.
Once you're about to enter it, okay. So easy enough to do. And you guys have been up to the upper city once or twice now, so you know where the nearest gate to you would be. Yeah, and so a couple blocks away from that, you start looking around. You have to go out of your way a little bit because they're usually a bit closer toward like the city walls as opposed to anywhere in the center of town. But it's easy enough for you to find a carriage that you can hire. There are 5 of you, so you could take one carriage. I think there are set prices for this. Hang on.
How much are they? I mean, I imagine Warden's kind of big.
Warden is rather large, yes.
Wow, that can't
6'3",
be right.
really broad shoulders, yeah.
Yeah, but we've got Moon, and so that averages out to 2 people.
Could be like Warden and Moon in one carriage and the 3 of us in another one.
Or I could
depending
just
on-
sit
Fit
on
in
somebody's lap.
I think if we could all fit in one, it would be best that we were all in one.
Sure.
Yeah, you can fit in one. Like I said, you need a slightly bigger one, so it costs a little bit more. But it's 5 copper per mile. So not much at all. To get from there to the Van Thamper estate, we'll say it's 4 miles. So grand total of 2 silver.
Okay.
I got it. Party loot. Yeah, party loot.
So yeah, you hire the carriage. Nice, kind of not old, but getting up there. Man, kind of hunched shoulders, climbs up into the driver's seat and directs you all to hop on in, and he'll take you up into the upper city. Do you mention you want to go to the Van Thamper estate, by the way, or just kind of give a general area?
General area.
That's what I figured. Okay, he takes off. The wagon starts kind of bumping along on the cobblestone streets. But well before you figure you've arrived, the carriage draws to a halt. And anyone who glances out from one of the windows of the carriage realizes you're at the gate into the upper city. And the carriage driver is talking to the guard for a second, and then one of the guards comes over and knocks on the door to the carriage.
Alexander, with all of the aristocratic bearing, opens the door and says, "Yes."
Names and business.
Alexander Oxford Cassandra, we are here to visit whatever the name of those people are.
Do you say that out loud? Is that like what you
No.
actually... Okay.
No,
I wasn't sure.
sure.
Sure. I wasn't sure if that was part of the aristocratic pull you're going for. So do you say you're going to visit the Van Thampers?
Are you sure you want to say that?
You know what he says? We're here
No.
to visit whatever their name was. What was it? He kind of looks at the resident. Who was their name?
Do we remember another aristocratic family name?
Roll intelligence checks.
I mean, there's Raven.
No! I don't think that's a good one to call.
There's Portier.
Intelligence, right?
Yep.
Portier might be the best bet.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you heard that name, or did you hear it?
Duke Portier, as recalled, his daughter said that she might gain leadership position in the Flaming Fist, a rumor.
Oh, you heard one of the rumors. Oh, good call. Okay. Is that everyone that wants to roll?
How did Warden get the highest?
I looked over at him. I said, I don't remember.
Warden rolled the highest,
Yeah,
but
I
I'm going to give this one to Valentira because Val remembered, because Stuart remembered the notes. Actually, Duke Portier. Not only is he a Duke of the city, he has close ties to the Flaming Fist. So, between that and your badges, that might be enough to get you in without any undue scrutiny.
Okay.
Are you going to tell Alexander?
Val will simply say to,
Mel
to
tells
Alexander.
Alexander, and
Duke
then
Portier.
Alexander tells the guard.
Visiting one of the dukes. Are you expected?
We better be.
Why? Are you
Perhaps tell him we have business on behalf of the Flaming Fist with
I'm
Duke
not
Portier.
running a message for you. You're either expected or you're not.
No, she was saying
We
that
are
to
expected.
Alexander.
Oh, sorry.
Alexander
Volunteer
just says, we better be.
Yeah, that's what he was,
You say-
he was guffawing at.
Volunteer
Yeah, I mean-
simply leans over towards Alexander and under her breath says, tell him that we have business with Duke Portier on behalf of the Flaming Fist.
Yes. We are here on behalf of the Flaming Fist. Duke Potier was supposed to have been notified in advance.
I'm sure he has been.
Well,
If
he
you're
wasn't,
here-
I will handle it.
Right. That's not our job, just so you're aware.
Like I said, I will handle it.
Great. So I got one name, and looks to be 5 of you in there.
Bodyguards.
Bodyguards with names, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Moon.
and Kate.
You see him, he's writing down on a roll of parchment he has.
Warden.
Valentira.
Yeah, Alexander is starting to look impatient.
You see he glances up from his paper and notices this, and looks back down. Look, I'm just doing my job, you're gonna have to deal with it. A member of the nobility was assaulted last night, so security has been upped. You're gonna have to just be patient, it's how things work right now.
Where was he assaulted?
I don't know, I don't get paid to know that kind of information. All I know is they said, hey, shit went down, double the guard. Guard's been doubled. So, you 5, going to visit the Duke on behalf of the Flaming Fist. I assume you have some proof of this.
Okay. Alexander pulls out like a silver coin and says, you wouldn't happen to know the name of the person who was assaulted?
He reaches up, takes the coin from you. Nope, as I just said, I don't get paid to know that information. They just told me to double the guard.
I will.
He did just say that.
Mhm.
He looks and says, amusing.
We do bear the flaming fist symbol.
Yes, I'll just flash the badge.
Great, that'll do. Appreciate your cooperation, if not your attitude, but seems to be everything's in order, and you all can be about your business. And he turns and
Thank
gives a
you.
sharp whistle, and you hear the wood creaking as the gate opens, and the carriage driver gives the horse a little bit of a tap with the whip and starts rolling forward again.
And when we're away from the gate, Alexander turns the arrogance off.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we know where these people live?
Yeah, Zod gave you directions, so you can kind
Okay.
of give the driver, vague directions to get into the area, and like you said, not tell him directly to go to that estate, but get in the location and then, take the last block on foot, maybe.
If there's an inn or something nearby, and let Moon scout.
Okay. Is
Uh,
there any place nearby?
Not as far as an inn goes. There's a store or two, though they look a bit more upscale. Once you're in the neighborhood of the actual Duke's villa, yeah, a couple stores look a bit more upscale. For the most part, it's residences, and they look also a bit more upscale as well. Eventually, you figure that's got to be the Duke's place because it's the biggest house on the block. It has its own walled-in estate essentially. You see there is a separate carriage house that is built in the wall on the northwestern side of the estate. Yeah, it just looks like the most the fanciest building in the nearby couple blocks. So that's definitely their house.
What forms of stores are there?
There's a clothing store. There is a jewelry store. There's a bank nearby too. And then a couple of restaurants.
What's up at the restaurant?
Sure. Okay, you get seated at the restaurant. All five of you going in?
Before we exit the carriage,
No, it doesn't last that long. Never mind.
What were you gonna do?
I was gonna bless.
That's only a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Guidance?
Also, just a minute, I think.
Guidance is just is a minute too. Never mind.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Oh, we're good. Nope. GM account lost connection. And
that's
it's
not good.
definitely... Yep, there it goes. Game's crashing. Camera... Oh, it just logged me out. Okay, no problem. Just give me a second to log back in. I love how it leaves me logged in, from Wednesday to Tuesday, and then during Tuesday it's like, nah, that's enough, get out. Once I start using it again... Oh, this isn't a good sign, guys. The captcha it gave me was to select the highest roll die, and it's a natural 20.
Oh no.
Even my captcha die roll high.
That's really unfortunate, considering that I had to select the lowest and it was a 2.
Exactly.
At least it was a natural 1 for me. But this does not bode well.
Not letting me log in. Just rolling the die for a very long time. Give it a second and I'll refresh her. No. Let me try.
Way is the house from the restaurant?
Depends. You want the fancier restaurant or the slightly less expensive restaurant?
Slightly less expensive one.
That one's about a full street away.
Okay, that works. We'll be out of sight.
Can you give me how far that is in feet?
Oh. Geez, making me estimate the length of a street in Baldur's Gate. Thanks, Sharon. There's actually a map. Once I get back in, I can check a map and give you an idea.
Okay.
Oh my, a map.
I don't know, it just stopped trying to log me in and now wants my information again. Huh.
Rolo.
Let me reset my password. Maybe that's got something to do with it. Please hold for technical difficulties.
Oh, while we're waiting, I've discovered a new way of torturing my kids.
No.
Oh.
I 3D print the miniatures for the monsters they fight.
Okay.
And I've been kind of just printing out random large monsters.
Just having them stored on the floor nearby for no reason.
Yeah.
Let me know if you ever need any. I have an enormous library because of my 3D print shop.
Yeah. Well, if you got something that looks really, really scary.
Oh. I'm sure I can find something.
Yeah.
Okay, good. My password changed. And now... Oh, here we go. Okay. Hey, logging in. Cool. I wonder if my password expired and that's why it kicked me out when it did or something.
Mm.
Loading the game. Excellent. Downloading world data. No longer downloading world. What is happening? Alright, I'm gonna make do while it loads. I can't get a map to give a decent estimate, so it's 250 feet from the restaurant to the villa.
I look at everybody and said, "Do you want me to see if he's in the building before we start
Well,
trying to look for a way in?"
Moon, just scout around real quick.
I can find out if he's in the building. At least.
Can you do that without anyone noticing?
It's a spell.
Yeah. How many
It's
people
not a
come into
flashy
cafe?
spell.
How
I
many
mean,
people come
I
into a
said
cafe?
this. I said before we get out of the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, give it a shot.
This will use up one of my second level spell slots.
FYI, I just pulled up, assuming you're talking about locate object.
Yeah.
So, the spell can locate a specific object known to you if you have seen it up close, within 30 feet, at least once.
Yeah. You told me that we've seen his book.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry. No, I was thinking that you learned he had it, but hadn't seen it. I forgot about that part. So yeah, you're good.
Okay.
So you're gonna go ahead and cast locate object?
Do what you will, sister.
Okay. I go ahead and I cast locate object.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly how far it would be, but it does ping. It is do you get an exact locale? Or do you just get a
General
direction?
You get the direction.
Yeah, so from your current position, it's toward the villa and down slightly.
Towards the villa and down slightly.
Is he moving? around.
Underneath. It's like under the villa? Under it?
Basement, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, guys, that we were right. There it is. There is. Yeah.
Oh, there'll be a
Okay.
basement. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Is he
So
stationary
at least,
within, or is he moving away?
yeah. Is
Uh,
it stationary?
It's not stationary, but it's also not going any great distance. It seems to be pacing.
Hmm.
Hey, I'm back in.
Hey,
Are
It
you?
seems to be. The book is pacing. Or the person the book is being carried on. Emmerich is pacing.
Also, upon loading back in, Foundry is telling me that I'm gonna have. Oh, great! We're gonna have to upgrade to Foundry 13 soon. Joy,
Yeah. Yeah, I just heard about that as well.
because apparently version 12 is closing. That's odd.
Well, maybe the 13's been out long enough that 12 is now being deprecated. Who knows?
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't do that. Like, the game's working. Leave it alone. I don't want to upgrade all this stuff.
An upgrade at work. It was
Cannot
very,
stand
very,
in the way of
very, very,
progress.
very, very, very upsetting for me.
I'd be fine with the progress if it worked when it was released.
Well, see, I only have 2 more. Not even. Yeah, about a little over 2 more. No, less. We have 2 more weeks when this upgrade. They decided to upgrade this system that we need desperately for the last 2 weeks of school, and they upgraded it on Friday morning.
updated.
And I had meetings on Friday, and I needed the information in it. And I was not allowed to get in there at all. I could not enter it at all. And
Don't you love
then, so over the weekend, I was planning on taking home work because end of the school year, it's crazy. But when I tried to, over the weekend, I would go in and see if I could still get in. If I could get in, nothing over the weekend. On Monday, I actually could get in, but all my permissions have been revoked, so I could not do anything in the program except for look at things and print things off. Yeah, I was having fun with an update.
Sounds like it. Okay, but yeah, we'll worry about the Foundry update, whenever I have to do it. But for now, yeah, so inside the carriage, you picked up on the book, it's pacing back and forth, seems to be in the villa or under the villa, definitely, on the estate one way or another.
Alright, I let Moon know that what she probably needs to find when she's in there is a way to get underneath the villa in her scouting. That's what she's looking for, a way to get underneath the villa.
Well, there's usually some entrance to the cellars towards the back for the use by the servants.
There may be some edifice, indeed. The servants' entry or stables or something else that might lead below. But also, keep an eye out for the guards. Find out where they are stationed and how many, so that we might avoid them if necessary. I mean, if possible.
Okay.
Okay, so while the rest of you go get yourself seated at the restaurant, Moon, you gonna go scout?
Yep.
Okay. So go ahead and first roll either a perception or investigation check.
No. Fun.
And then go ahead and roll. You can either roll stealth to try and just not be seen at all, or you can roll charisma to try and blend in.
Okay, that's a hard choice. Not
mean-
at all, because I have a +8 to stealth.
Yeah, you're a cat also. It's, blending in. I don't know.
Even if you did your best at blending in, you would still stand out a
I was
little
gonna say, being a cat person does not help in this situation. Were she a cat proper, probably.
Yeah.
But she's a short, two-legged cat with a cloak and a hood and, weaponry, and yeah, is like 3 foot tall, so it's like a hobbit walking around in Gondor. If the hobbit,
Head of the servants.
if the hobbit had black fur at the same time. So 15, okay. So you break from the group, head to the estate.
+1 972 832.
Huh?
Hi. Siri wants to play D&D.
Incoming voice call from +1 972.
Colin.
Colin, are you
Yeah.
checking your voicemail?
Yeah, I know. Mom's on her way.
So yeah, break off, head to the estate, and the first problem that you come into is quite obviously the fact that it has a wall surrounding it, and that wall is about 10 feet tall, and you are not.
But I have a
But you-
climbing
I'm
speed.
speed.
Sure, yeah, absolutely you do. That might be kind of obvious.
Yeah.
There are people out and about in this area. It's not as crowded as the lower city by far, but you have noticed, both this time and in your previous visits up here, there is more of a guard presence. Would you like to go ahead and try and climb the wall?
Are there any trees
No.
nearby, maybe, that you could use that might overhang or get close enough to the wall that you might be able to leap from it to the wall?
There are not. There are trees inside the wall in the estate proper, but
Hmm.
outside the wall, it's, paved roads.
How about neighboring buildings that she can climb up? Get in an alley, climb up a neighboring building, look and see what's inside the wall.
Again, you run into the problem that it's the fancier neighborhood. Adjutting the estate on either side are other estates.
You said that there was a horse play, like a
Carriage house.
carriage house.
Yep. So on the northwestern corner of the estate, the wall actually runs into the wall of the carriage house. So, like that corner, the carriage house is part of the wall. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Is there anybody guarding that?
You don't see anyone on the outside.
Any windows?
Let me see.
If it's the carriage house, they might have a hayloft.
Yeah, there should be a door above the main entrance for moving in hay.
Where'd my map go?
It'd make more sense for it to be on the exterior so that they don't have to cart it through the grounds proper.
Unless they're worried about security.
That is fair.
Here's my map. That's what I'm looking for. So no windows. Oh no, wait. Sorry, I believe. Yeah, there is actually a single window on the exterior wall. It's small and kind of higher up, just to let some natural light in. But it is there. It does not look like it opens, however. From the outside, you don't see any sign of a hayloft. The building is also not terribly tall. Given the map that I have in front of me, it doesn't actually look like it has like a second story. It's a one-story building. Slightly taller than an average one-story building to accommodate horses and stalls and that kind of thing, but still a one-story building.
Okay, I go up to the door and I try to listen into the building itself? Do I hear any
There is no
movement?
door on the exterior of the stable house.
There's no door.
Yeah, the door is on the inside, on the side of the wall with the rest of the estate. Or you would assume anyway. You haven't actually seen it.
Okay, great. Fine. Okay. Wall's too high. Is there a back entrance?
To the estate itself?
Yes.
There are two gates built into the wall. There's the one on the southern end, which is looks to be like the kind of main entrance, and then on the northern end of the house there is also another gate, but it is a full gate. Oh, and sorry, there are actually two gates on the north side. Sorry, two gates on the south side, one on the north.
Like a maid's entrance or something?
No, they're like full size, gates, like big enough for a carriage to roll through. You're not looking at the house itself. You're looking at the outer wall of the estate. They have like an enclosed grounds area, so you can see the house is set like from the north gate, for example. It's set 25-30 feet back from the wall itself. From the south side, it's about 20 feet from the
servant's
wall.
interest at all. It's just the big gates. No other servant entrances at all.
Yeah, there's no other entrances on the gate on the exterior wall except the three big gates.
And they're all being guarded, correct?
You haven't seen anyone on the outside. There's been no one at any point along the wall outside.
Okay.
Concern is getting seen by someone on the road.
Yeah. Is there anybody on the road?
Yeah, there are a bunch of people out and about. Like I said, not as many as in the lower city. It's not as crowded. But the other half of that is that there are more guards in this area because it is the richer area of town.
Wish my stealth was higher.
Well, Moon doesn't know what her stealth number is, so...
Yeah. Talking as the player, not Moon. I guess I'm just gonna have to risk climbing when there's no guards around.
I will say with your 18 perception check, you've not seen any guards on the outside, but you hear people walking on the other side of the wall. A couple of voices chatting back and forth, just, having a pretty much nothing conversation, just chatting about the day. And at one point, you can tell that they're getting quieter because they're walking away from you, and then you hear other voices getting louder coming towards you.
On top of the wall, is there enough room for a small cat-like person to maybe skirt along it for a little bit, until maybe there's an opportune time for her to drop down?
She hasn't even climbed up it yet.
No, I know, but if she gets up there.
Yeah, it's enough that she could run along it. She'd be, obviously exposed though, because it's just a flat wall.
Yeah, and there's no foliage or trees or anything nearby that might obscure her in any way.
She doesn't know what's on the other side of the wall. There could be. There are no trees that she can see poking up above the wall. But there could be a moat on the other side of the wall. It could be nothing. She doesn't know.
Okay, checking around, making sure that nobody's paying attention to me. I'm going to climb the wall.
Are you going to wait until you hear them walking away?
Yes.
Well, there's a little bit of a gap, but not much, because again, as you hear the first set of voices beginning to fade, a second set begins to grow as it comes towards you. You get the sense there's a patrol happening. So you can wait for a set of voices to fade, but as far as you can tell, it's not going to do a whole lot for you. Just FYI.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm just going to peek my, scan over to see if there's any foliage on the
Foliage.
other side. Yeah.
Okay. So climbing up just enough to get your eyes over the top of the wall?
Yep.
Okay. So that was a 15 stealth. Let me see here.
I get caught and I get screamed at. I am blaming my party.
If you get seen, you just run.
Yeah.
They are on alert because there was forewarning. So only one of them. Oh, jeez. Okay. I don't know if you can see those or not, but Moon.
Yep,
I can see them.
it.
You pop your head up over the wall, and you get a decent look around the area. You can see that, like I said, the actual house itself is set back anywhere from 25 to 30 feet from the wall, depending on which part of the wall you're on. There's a good bit of open ground, open grass. There's some cobblestone road that leads from one gate to all the other gates into the carriage house. There are a good number of decorative bushes on the inside of the wall that are kept cut low enough that they're only maybe about 5 feet tall at the most, but they're large enough they could easily hide you. But as you're glancing around at the foliage, and then you can all see immediately in front of you there is like a balcony that kind of overhangs and gives a bit of a shaded area on the lower floor that covers up one of the doors, or right above one of the doors. So those might be options as well, either beneath the balcony or up on the balcony. You should be able to cross it and climb it in time. But as you're kind of considering that, the two of the voices continue and keep moving. You hear a third voice stop and and call back to the other two. Hey, what's that?
I drop down.
And you immediately drop back down. All three voices stop, though. Eventually, you see one of the gates creak open a little bit.
Better go.
Yeah,
Skedaddle.
I'm just going to walk away, calmly. I'm just doing some errands from my boss. I'm hiding my badge, by the way.
Okay.
And I'm just walking like I have a purpose.
Make a deception
I'm on
check.
a
Yeah.
deception.
Here we are.
Yep.
Okay. I am so glad that I took proficiency in this. And that's a
Ah.
9-1.
I have. You can use my
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
It's better.
So wanted that to be another nat one. Okay, so they'll just roll some basic insight checks. They have +0, and they don't have advantage on these. So, okay, you see the gate open just enough for the three of them to slip out. Spears pointed outward and scanning around the area, but luckily there are just enough people that you can kind of, turn and begin walking away and have enough people between you and them so they don't get a great look at you and just casually walk away as if nothing's happening. You also remember at the last second to put your hood up, which is good because what they actually spotted over the wall were your black fur ears. So probably put the hood up so it's a bit harder to spot that. And yeah, they don't begin to come running after you. Probably too far away to hear what they're saying and they're whispering to themselves. And you kind of glance back and see that after a minute or two of scanning the area, they duck back in, close the gate.
What we can do is do the same thing, only be waiting at the gate when they open it.
But that's going in hot. We don't know. I mean, we know we need to go down, but we don't know anything
Well-
else inside.
Well, the more loud people could do that, and the more stealthy of us could. Well, I'm going to go. You guys don't know this yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to return and be like, yeah, I was kind of made. So, what? And there's no getting into this. It is locked down tight. There are guard ships back to back. People
many guards
walking
did you see?
around. But I don't know. I couldn't count because I was made right away.
Well, you saw 3, but you know that there are definitely more on patrol, just from the voices. You don't know how many specifically, but you saw 3 come out of the gate.
I saw 3, but there's probably more I do not know because I was made. When I say I was made, I was spotted.
They saw you.
They saw
didn't-
me.
They didn't get chased.
It's broad day out. I am more suited for night where it's dark and my coat blends in better.
Oh, we're not. You know, we're not saying that you did wrong. We're just trying to. Options. Maybe we should wait till dark.
Or if I get caught on purpose, we could have a siege group, mostly the loud ones, at the
Or
front
why don't we
gate.
see if we can find some sewer entrances and see if we can find a way in. We can basically spend the rest of the day searching the sewers, and then at night come up, and if we have to go over the wall then.
That's an option.
That will also take longer.
But we don't. If we.
If we're waiting till night, it's best
Right.
to see if we have a way in before then. We might get lucky.
Yeah, if we can go down. So,
If we knew the number of guards that these Van Thampers have hired, we would know our odds against a forward assault. You say that there were 3, and then there was a patrol. Say that
do
there
not-
are 3 patrols. That would make 9. These are simply guesses, though.
Okay, so as soon as I hear one patrol going away, like their voices getting softer, I hear another one approaching. Which means there's probably more than 9 patrols out right now.
It's
More than-
possible there's
more than 3, yeah.
4. One to maintain full sight of a wall at a time.
Likely.
I really don't want to go in and kill a bunch of people who are only doing their jobs.
Well, we're going to have to do that anyways, because they're
If-
going to attack us, and we have to get out of this alive.
No, so this is I'm just I think we should wait until dark. And if we have to go through the gate, we can use this ploy. Or while we're waiting for it to get dark, we can go ahead and see if we can find an alternate entrance through the sewers.
Yes.
That is
Use our time
fine.
wisely.
Indeed. As long as we are doing that. Well, we are in the upper city, and I know not if sewer entries are common here.
Oh, they'll be fairly common because for storm drains. Just look for a
And-
storm drain.
And bathrooms. We came up through a bathroom. We could always go back down.
But there needs to
through
be a way
bathroom.
inside. Without drawing too undue attention. Anyway, let us have a look.
So heading down into the sewers.
Yeah, we're gonna
to
try
look
and
for a
find some
sewer
kind of way
entrance.
into the sewers that's nearby the villa.
Mhm.
Okay. Whoever wants to, go ahead and roll an investigation check. Sorry, not whoever wants to. Whoever's leading the party.
Who has good
not I for this.
investigation?
+3 to investigation.
Go for
Better,
it,
my
sewer,
+0.
sewer boy. Go for it.
Okay, is
Who's
anyone
gonna-
else proficient to give me
Yeah, is
advantage?
anyone else proficient?
And
I
you?
don't think anybody else is.
Great.
Investigation, right? No.
Guidance. I slap you on the back.
Oh god, what an awful roll.
I gave you guidance.
D4.
Yeah, I said guidance. I slapped him on the back.
Colin?
I roll. Okay, whatever. What is what do I roll for guidance?
D4.
Here.
4.
Okay,
11.
total of 11.
Yeah, better than over a 10 at least.
So, out on the streets, there aren't a ton of entrances into the sewers. You do find two like actual, manhole covers essentially that you could climb down into. The problem is they're in the middle of the street, and there are a lot of people walking about. So, just walking up to a manhole cover and pulling it off in the middle of the day might come with its own set of problems. But you find some entrances.
How about any of the the drains themselves that look like?
Not that you found in the area, no.
We can say
I
that
got
we
kicked off
operate.
my computer.
I didn't do it. I
Okay.
blame Kenny.
We can say that we are operating in the name of the Flaming Fist for anyone who might come by and question our activities here. So, where is a likely candidate? And wherever Alex points to or leads us to, or whatever.
Yeah.
Stand in a circle. Walden, shall we try and open this?
Oh, very well.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys gonna try and pull the manhole cover off?
Yep.
Okay. One of the two of you give me an athletics check.
I will assist Warden.
+6. Okay. What's advantage again?
Alt.
Alt. Thank you.
Oh wait, I'm not proficient in athletics somehow.
Ah.
Well, if we can't do it, I'll try.
You're not proficient, so it's only the 16.
I
So-
could have assisted because I'm proficient in athletics.
She's
Well-
used to being out in the wild.
It's just she's providing stability for the cover, making sure. That's it.
Definitely keep that in mind in the future. But for now, it was 16. So, yeah, Warden, you grab hold of it. There are a couple of indentations, like, to grab it and get some leverage on it and pull it, but try as you might, it doesn't budge. Like, it doesn't shift a single bit. And as you're, stooped over, straining, and I imagine probably grunting with effort, trying to rip this thing out of the street, you hear a voice. Oi! Knock it off! What are you doing? And a
Val
pair of
looks over
guards
to
who
this.
are it's just a pair of they don't have badges of the Flaming Fist. They look like they're probably employed by some of the wealthier people in the area. And they come walking over to you guys. What are you doing?
Alexander shows him the badge and says, "None of your business." Go back.
Sorry, pal. That's not how it works in this area. We're private hires.
Yeah.
And besides, Fist works for the Dukes anyway. Who do you think we work for?
Who do you work for?
We heard rumors that there was suspicious activities happening underneath this in the sewers. We are just investigating.
Into the sewers.
Yes,
Well, then
in the
I'm
sewers.
sure you've got the proper paperwork. Writ of
Note on
passage,
hand that you
writ
can
of
check in with
investigation.
Flame Zodge at the gate.
No, you don't get this from Zodge, which tells me you don't know what you're talking about, okay? Investigating the sewers in the upper city, you don't go to Zodge and the Flaming Fist for that.
Go
You need
to
a
the
writ?
Duke.
See, she's the smart one here. You need a writ of investigation or passage from the Duke. In this case, being in the sewers, well, that's Duke Van Thampor.
Right.
Are you in the employ of Duke Van Dampar?
No,
Who are you employed by?
Duke Stelmane. Not that
Does
that's
Duke
any of your
Stelmane
business.
have jurisdiction here?
I'm sorry, did I stutter? Duke Stelmane.
She just looks at him placidly.
Does it ring a bell?
I mean, Duke Stelmane's one of the dukes of the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I remember what he is like Duke over?
She.
She? Notes. I wrote it down.
I
Wrote down the
mean,
Dukes. Where are the Dukes?
I'm having to double check before I give you an answer. If you find your notes, go for it.
Domain? I don't have a note about what they're over. I just have their name written down.
it's funny. Kitty and I probably know who Duke
What's the
Stelmane
good
is, but
thing?
Yes, I know exactly who Duck Stem
I mean,
is.
yeah.
And I can't say anything on it.
I know. Not saying
I
it.
got kicked out of Foundry. It's taken me a minute to get in.
Damn it, Sharon.
If I were to try to persuade him to just leave us alone, what would be a good hack to use?
You
I'm
asking the
thinking
DM or your party?
This is,
I think he's asking us out of character.
I'm wondering if they would be so pushy if we told them it was time sensitive. We don't have time to go get this. If we don't, because we have heard rumors that somebody attacked, and we're
Yeah.
wanting to be sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. Is he's going to try to persuade him that we are here in a rush because we believe we have a lead on somebody who attacked a high noble whose name we are not at liberty to release.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm just thinking. Yeah, remember, wait for the DM to tell you what to roll. Don't just roll.
Oh,
I know.
It's all good. I'm just saying, in the future. Okay, so you see them listen to it, and they kind of glance back and forth between one another. And unfortunately, with a 17, they don't look convinced.
Okay.
That's great. You got orders from no one that you should come up here and investigate because it's time sensitive. We've got orders to keep our eyes open for anything odd for the same reason, but not from no one.
All right. We'll go get a writ, and we'll be back.
Sounds great. Get that writ, and we'll help you take this cover off. No problem then.
Okay. By the way, your name, just in case we get, we don't
Just
see
in
you.
case they die, we know who to blame.
Exactly.
No. When we
Uh-huh.
get back up here, if we don't find you right away, who do we ask for?
Oh, don't worry. You won't have trouble finding us.
You're not going to give me your name.
Not after that one just threatened us.
'Cause, yeah.
It wasn't a threat, it was a
They took it as a
warning.
threat. Threatening their jobs, essentially.
Fair.
Okay, guys.
I could have gotten an
Alexander
intimidation
looks-
check at least from that.
Alexander looks him right in the eye and says, "Actions have consequences.
Yeah, right. And failing to do our duty has consequences too. And not just getting
Yeah.
fired. That was me tripping up on my
Guys,
words, not him.
Stop. Yeah.
No,
Guys, stop
if-
arguing.
If what we're trying to do fails, we will be coming to you for answers. Then he just turns around and walks away.
Okay.
I turn to the guys and say, Stress. You know how shit all
I would have
goes
appreciated at
downhill?
least an intimidation check.
It
See
was
if we
already
could-
failed. Like you can't just keep doing different things to get the result.
threaten them into getting their name. That's what I was wanting.
Yeah, well, they specifically didn't give the name because of what you said, though. That had the opposite effect.
Right.
Like
So,
they would have given
I-
a name, and then you threatened their jobs, and then we're like, well, now shit, now we're not going to tell you.
I just give them a kind of a win of sympathy. I say, I'm sorry, shit flows downstream, and we're Stress. We'll go get the writ. So you guys, yeah, see you in a bit. And I turn around.
Despite your efforts to walk away, you soon realize that the two of them are following you.
Great.
Really? Seriously?
Again, they're on alert because, as you guys know, a member of one of the Duke's families was attacked last night. They don't know all the details behind that. They were just told, hey, be on the lookout today. And they are.
So, who are we supposed to get
Okay.
the writ from?
While his back,
The very people we're trying to break into the house of.
He's going to use thaumaturgy to create a woman's scream about 100 feet on the opposite direction. From them. If they're behind us, 100 feet behind us, a woman's scream.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, thaumaturgy has both verbal and somatic components.
Yeah, that's why he's doing it with his back turn.
Sure. In that case, verbal being the operative word. Just go ahead and roll a stealth check.
You can time it when we're still talking with the guards, perhaps.
Well, he didn't plan to do this until they realized they were following you guys, so that's already gone.
Yeah.
It's not a
It's
hard
just
DC.
verbal, so
yeah,
that's it.
6 is fine. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a natural 1 situation. Don't worry, guys. I know sometimes you can. It's a little nerve wracking, but behind the scenes, DCs get adjusted quite a bit. So, yeah, 6 is
And
fine.
Alexander whips around when he hears it.
Yeah, and
Immediately,
He suspects all of us whip around when we hear it.
Yeah.
yeah, because
Sure.
the rest of the party. That's a good point, actually. Everyone else in the party make perception checks.
Val draws a sword.
Okay. So luckily everyone rolled high enough that everyone in the party sees Alexander beginning to cast this spell as you guys are walking away from the guards. It's been a couple minutes. You've stopped talking to them. They've been following you, and you see Alexander doing this. And then a second later, you hear the scream, and all of you can pretty much figure out what just happened. And as you whip around and Volunteer draws a sword, the guards do the same. One of them spins around, and then one of them looks back to you as you've drawn your sword, Val, and holds up a hand and says, "Just stay out of this. We'll take care of it." And they kind of give another glance back to your party, wanting to follow after you, but hearing the scream, they then have to turn and bolt the other direction.
Okay, well, now we can just walk away unfollowed.
Quickly.
Good job. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
smart thinking.
So
That was good thinking.
Yep.
yeah.
Really
Okay.
good thinking.
We need to get out off the street fast. It's someplace where we can hold up for a little while. I look around. Is there any place like that?
Well, let's just go across the villa area, so to speak, so that we're not anywhere near where we encountered those guards. It doesn't really matter where we are, but yeah. we can go like onto the opposite side of the villa from where we are, and then maybe a street or two away.
Well, yeah, I mean,
from
that sewer entrance was a decent ways away from the villa to begin with.
Oh, okay.
So you had some distance there, so you can, double back, head like in the direction of the villa to, and then pass on the other side of it. So you're still a good ways away from that sewer entrance, but still in the vicinity that you want to be in.
Yep.
As far as, again, there are, like I said, the only place you can really sit and linger for a while are mainly the restaurants. There is also a park, but it's a little ways away from the manor. You can't actually see the manor from the park. But it is there. It is open to the public. You could sit and linger there for a while.
We can do that, and then we can look for another sewer entrance, and maybe be more circumspect and
maybe do the exact same thing again.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe be better at it. We'll see.
In like alleyway or something that's not in the middle of the street.
there aren't really any alleyways in this area of the city. That's the problem. Specifically because they built it that way so that there aren't any. There are
streets and minor streets.
Exactly, pretty much.
One more minor street.
Yep. Yeah, so you guys want to go look for another entrance somewhere else?
Yeah, so we're looking for a minor street that has an entrance to the sewers that we can post people at either end of the street while we try to get into the sewer real fast. To, give a warning.
Given the previous investigation check, there's not a street that you guys can cordon off while you do this. There isn't. You have found a second entrance. We'll say in the other direction, maybe a little bit farther from the mansion. That's why you used the other one to begin with because it was closer.
Well, then at the very least, Alexander, Valentina, and Caitlin can be watching for any approaching guards or whatever, while Kate and Warden can hopefully get this sewer entry.
Well, I have really good perception, but not really good strength.
No, it's
I just need someone to give me advantage.
Yeah, Warden and Crescent Moon.
I can give. Yeah.
Okay. I do have athletics. I pat you on the back and give you guidance.
Well, first off, Kate, go ahead and roll perception check to see if you spot, a window when there are no guards nearby.
Val's gonna give her self-guidance and do the same thing. If I need to roll.
I mean, if you want to. It's up to you.
No, she rolled pretty dang good, but yeah, I'll roll. Just to see.
Alexander has proficiency in athletics, so he'll probably try to help.
Oh, Alexander has proficiency in athletics?
Yeah.
I think that at least makes a little more sense than Moon helping, so...
Okay.
Well, then Moon can watch out then.
Athletics, because I have a -1 on my strength, and I wanted all my scores to at least have a +1.
So Moon can help watch out while Alexander helps Warden.
Yeah, benefits of a noble background. Acrobatics and athletics.
That's why you make a custom background and get whatever you want.
Nah.
So, Kate and Val. Looking around. The kind of private guards are a lot more scarce, but you definitely see them in the area. But then, kind of, since you're now keeping an eye on the people in the area, you notice an individual walking along the street beside you, and then maybe 15-20 feet behind him is another, and both of them seem to be looking at your group, trying to be circumspect about it, but definitely glancing sideways and looking at you. And then at one point, as one of them goes to turn a corner, you see the late morning sun kind of glint off of something that they have on their belt, and you notice the badge of the Flaming Fist, and Zod was sending people up here to just be in the area on the ready. And so, seeing that, you can kind of right before he turns the corner, you make the decision and get his attention, and you just tell him you need them to create space. And so he gets the one that was falling a little bit behind him, and the two of them, they say, just, all right, give us a minute. And about a minute goes by, and then you hear a commotion start up, about a block over, and there was a private guard in the area, and he hears the commotion, and so he darts off in that direction as well. And you guys now have a window to try and get into the sewer.
Oh,
Warden,
gotta love that camaraderie, people.
I don't know if I'd go that far. Maybe
assistance.
it's more
That's all
fear
we
of
need to
Zod,
care
I
about.
think.
Yeah. I pat you on the back, Warden. Guidance.
Go ahead and roll athletics with advantage and a d4.
There you go.
You don't need that D4.
Let's do it anyways. 26.
May hell
He-
Get over
guide
the
you.
25.
He did need that d4.
Get over that 25 DC.
So the first one I would have made at advantage, if it was at advantage, would have just barely made it.
Yep.
Okay.
So, as you get the nod and the go ahead, there's a window to give it a shot. You reach down and grab hold of it. And at first, it's not budging. Alexander is kind of like inspecting it and trying to help you and point out the specific points that you might get the best leverage on, like, adjust your stance this way. And at first, it's just not budging. You don't sweat, but you felt like if you were flesh and bone that you would be sweating pretty profusely right now. And eventually Caitlin walks over and just kind of pats you on the shoulder. You stop for a second, take a breath, even though you don't need to breathe. And then really put your back into it and wrench it. And you hear this pop sound, like a seal being broken all of a sudden. And there's this just faint little flash of blue-white light. And then all of a sudden it just comes loose all at once.
Did we set off an alarm?
Quite possibly. Let's hurry.
Alexander, roll an Arcana check. That'll do. You don't think it was an alarm. You think that was the aftermath of a lock spell being brute forced open. Hence the 25 DC.
I just broke an arcane lock by brute force.
Yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Down we go.
Yeah, that's
Fast,
written
fast,
into the
fast.
spell. Like, you can physically do that. Just, it takes a 25.
Okay, remind me next time I do my spells to pick up knock.
Knock
Oh,
is
yeah.
very loud.
300-foot ringing boom as you open a lock. Yep.
Oh, never mind.
It's a great spell. It's just not subtle.
Nah.
No, it's not subtle at all. But
Alright,
it's
so in a minute
really
ago-
funny when
I
there's
am
people
here
in the
and
air.
I am coming to get you. Spell.
Does the new version still have that?
Oh yes.
Nice.
It's even louder now.
1,000 foot sound. Okay, so you guys all heading down to the sewer?
Yeah.
Okay. So with it open, you guys all rush over. There is a ladder, so you're able to quickly scramble down one by one. And whoever's last, I imagine, pull the cover back overhead.
Warden.
Sure.
Warden.
As it slides into place, you hear and kind of feel a little bit of a rush of air, Warden, and you think that the lock is probably re-engaged once it settles into place. But, it's probably a lot easier to get out since you don't have to worry about people watching you and get in. So, yeah, one by one, you guys drop down at the foot of the ladder, and you find yourselves in a rounded section of stone tunnel. You can quite clearly see, all the individual bricks that made this place up. There's a little bit of a trench in the bottom of it, and you do see some nasty, looking greenish water. It's barely a trickle at this point, but it's there.
I go over and I slap Moon on the back and say, "You got this. You can tell us which way to go." As I give her guidance.
Yeah, Alexander's
Okay,
gonna
so it's survival, correct?
To navigate, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
survival's more for the wilderness. I'll allow it. Go for it. We'll say it's just direction period.
While we're moving, Alexander's going to be looking for signs of activity that someone's been through recently.
Sure.
That's a 9.
Good.
We're lost.
Alexander, go ahead and roll perception for that, if you haven't already.
Perception, not investigation.
Perception?
Yeah, I think it'd have to be perception because you guys are on the move, and yeah, you're not.
Right.
I'll allow investigation if you want.
Okay, I need that.
I'm looking around trying to see if,
Perfect.
Wow.
I'm looking around trying to get a feel for the area. Not so much. I'm not looking to see if people have been down here. What I'm trying to figure out is if if I were going in the because I had that ping from him, right? For the it's been over 10 minutes, but
Well
I had
over
that
10
ping.
minutes.
Yeah. I had that ping from him. So I'm trying to gauge from where we went down which way we would need to go.
Well, the ping
In
doesn't give you
relation-
any additional information because
No.
it's just the same direction as the villa.
Right. But it was down underneath it, you said, right?
Yeah, but you couldn't really tell if it was like a basement or a wine cellar or if it was in the sewers. You just know it was like, because, you're a decent ways away, so it's just angled down slightly.
Okay, so I can't try to figure out if we're going towards where I felt that ping. Okay,
What
that's okay.
you can. My point is, it's this pretty much like navigating with the same intention of getting to the villa, right? Like, it's the same idea from the information you have. That the ping doesn't give you anything additional on top of that. But you can try and navigate, and make sure you're going at least in the general vicinity of the villa. Sure.
Okay. I'll try to do that.
Go ahead and roll your own survival check.
Wow. Wow, she rolled better than I did. Wow.
She's got the same number.
I
as you
am
do,
wisdom based.
Unfortunately, since you guys had different roles, Alexander, it's a sewer. You might be used to the smell of sulfur, but this is just beneath you and disgusting. So you kind of, every time you begin to look for what might be a track or some sign of some passage, you see something gross and instinctively look away, and suddenly you find yourself just not able to look at the ground very much this whole time. Moon, you from the villa to get to this entrance, you guys went west. When you get down here, the tunnel runs north and south, so it's not the greatest starting point to begin with, but you decide, head north, hopefully start making your way over to the east sooner or later. And you start doing that, and then just kind of start, picking whatever tunnel smells less bad to you whenever you get an option to choose, and trying to go in that general vicinity. Caitlin realizes before too long that you haven't gotten any closer to the villa, actually, as far as she can tell.
So, yeah, Moon, I think we need to go this way.
Okay. Lead the way.
Lead? I don't like to lead. You know what happens when I lead? I get stabbed a lot.
It's not wrong.
I'm right behind you, sister. Or right next to you, at least. Come.
Okay, so is Moon staying in the lead, or is Caitlin taking over?
I'm taking over.
Okay, give me a new survival check now, as you're trying to undo,
Guidance.
backtrack through where Moon has led you, and try and find the right direction.
Oh!
You don't need guidance. You're good.
I said it was guidance anyway, so I rolled it. As I said, I did it. So.
Okay. So, doing some quick math and like triangulation and trying to map out the city in your head, and at first Kate begins to backtrack a little bit, and you see her counting tunnels and trying to like figure out all the turns that you guys have taken since Moon started leading. And then after a couple minutes, she turns back and begins to further the path that Moon had taken, but begins to turn south as much as she can. And after about a half hour, Caitlin, you turn onto a tunnel, and it's collapsed. There's just rubble filling the entirety of it. But with your natural 20, you know you should be pretty close to where the villa is. Like,
I look over at Alexander and I say, is it possible that this was collapsed on purpose?
Want Alexander to take a look?
Yep.
You will. Investigation or perception?
This one you can definitely do investigation, yeah. It's a little hard to say if it was done intentionally, but you can definitely tell that it was recent. Like, very recent, because there's no fine coating of dust or grime that a lot of the rest of the sewer has had. There is still a trickle of water like running into the rubble, and it at least has enough space to filter out some other side. And where the water is hitting the rubble, it's still sharp-edged and jagged. So this looks like it was very, very recent. You can't really get an intention, can't tell if it was done on purpose or not, but definitely recent.
Well, start moving rocks.
Okay, you guys gonna start trying to dig it out?
Yeah, try to do it over towards a wall where we have at least one solid wall.
Yeah. I don't suppose you can figure out where is best to dig to get through this quickest?
There's no way to tell what the quickest way would be. However, I do want anyone who wants to go ahead and roll another intelligence check. Just a straight intelligence check.
I'm afraid this is going to fall down on our heads. Oh! Criminelli!
The dice are taking forever for me.
Okay, somebody rolled a nat 20 and I rolled a nat 1. This evens out.
Who got... Oh, for some reason Caitlin's roll didn't show up on the GM account, but it did on the camera account. Okay, cool. That makes sense, because Caitlin said exactly what I was having you guys roll for right before you rolled. Yeah. It is possibly very dangerous that this, removing any of this rubble could cause a secondary collapse, could cause the rubble to shift and spill out and, possibly bury whoever's digging it out at the time. It can be done. You just have to do it very slowly and very carefully, very methodically. And
okay.
I do not have the time for that.
I want to think, I'm thinking about the way we got here. Do I know, the tunnels we took, is there a possibility of another way around this?
Well, that'll probably be collapsed also.
Well, if it's collapsed, then we know it's been done on purpose recently.
I think we know that already.
Yeah, there has to be, the sewer has to run around this area to connect to the rest of the sewers. You're not sure if there were any other paths that would lead into any connection to the villa itself, but it is possible if you want to try and find some.
I mean, how long have we been down here?
Probably about 40 minutes.
Yeah, we have time.
If we are really going to traipse around these sewers, let us at least map so that we are not going in circles. But if they took the time to collapse this tunnel, which likely leads directly into the villa, then any other ingresses are also likely to be collapsed as well. I
Do
think
we have
that either
anything
we.
to mark a walls with?
Check some of your starter packs, because those, so depending on your class, like a cleric, for example, usually has like chalk in there or something, or even a candle.
Or-
Yeah.
Of course, you could also just, we'll say you could even just pick up a piece of the rubble, and
Yeah.
scratch it on the wall. So yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Or we can do that. We can mark the walls to keep ourselves from getting lost.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Okay, so I'm gonna try circle around and find another spot.
I'd say just start digging.
I'm afraid that the roof will fall down on our heads.
Maybe, maybe not.
Oh, I know. Alexander cast Firebolt.
Well, let us consider. If there is another way, and it is not buried like this, then we are incredibly fortunate. Otherwise, digging through this may take quite a long time, and it is fraught with danger. At this point, we may simply need to wait. Unless you think that we can get through this pretty quickly.
Think we have the time to investigate other alternatives rather than trying to go through this pile of rubble and having one or more of us get hurt.
Okay, well, we'll go look.
We'll make some markings about where we are, and at the very Volunteer looks over towards Alexander and says, "You do look more like the bookish sort. Do you wish to perhaps form a map of some kind, so that we are able to find our way back here if need be?"
I'll do my best. I'm not a cartographer.
Your best is likely more than I can do.
Okay.
You could just write. You could just say 3 tunnels, turn right. 3 tunnels, turn right.
Well, what he's going to do is he's going to count paces.
Okay.
All right, so let's go.
And basically put the number of paces between any intersection.
Okay.
Well,
Um,
we're keeping
I
track in
look-
some way, officially,
I
so...
looked over at Moon and I said, "Do you want to try it, or do you want me to try it?" I mean, I'm,
Okay, one thing though.
Right, what?
Does anyone have light spell?
need this.
Yes.
I do.
Yeah, because
I-
dark vision doesn't work very well if you're trying to write in a book.
Yeah, I'll don't
pick
worry,
up
I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
At this
okay.
point, I think it's kind of assumed that someone's casting light for warden's sake at
exactly.
least.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
I mean, there's no one around, so yeah, we'll cast light.
Also, dark vision will work fine for a book. Assuming, it's normal paper, because the paper would be a lot lighter than the ink, and you see in shades of gray, so you'd be able to read.
We'll do light anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I was reading
I
that
need the light anyways, so.
for like searching an area, if you're using dark vision, you have disadvantage.
Yeah. So, Moon, shall you lead the way to find another entrance?
I think I usually forget that.
I'll guess I will.
I pat you on the back and say, "You got this," and I cast guidance.
Roll another survival check. Hey, that's better.
D4.
20 exactly. I was hoping you not wanted it because I had a gift for it. I was gonna describe Alexander like marking out everything that was going on and then stopping and yelling this at you. Great movie, by the way. No one's ever watched Trapped in Paradise.
I was going to put something in the chat too.
What if you
Alright,
failed?
Oh, never mind. What?
if you failed, you're gonna put something in the chat.
Yeah.
Now I wonder what it
If I
was.
fail. You want to see?
Sure. Yeah, there you go.
That's a good one.
Okay, and Alexander, go ahead and roll me a survival check as well for your map making skills, or your map recording skills.
Okay, this is going to be interesting.
That's fine. Okay. Yeah, DC on that was a 10. And at first, Moon's leading the way, so you start counting paces, and then about 5 seconds later, you realize, oh wait, I'm counting Moon's paces. I shouldn't do that. And you start counting average size paces of the rest of the party. Had you failed, I was going to say you count paces. That no problem. And then, when you come back to it, it's like, wow, this is way off scale. What's going on? But luckily, yeah, you pick up on that and start recording appropriately and do a decent enough job of it. And Moon, as you have it now in your head that the villa is pretty much like, from your starting point, it's above you and like 100 feet forward. So you kind of keep that point fixed in your head as you begin to move around and start circling around. And before too long, you come to a portion that turns the direction you need it to. It's turning west, given the way your party's gone so far. And you turn into that tunnel, and it's collapsed.
We know. All right, Alexander, can you check this one out and see if it's not as wobbly as the other one?
Yeah.
Okay, roll investigation. The other one didn't seem necessarily wobbly. You guys didn't really do a whole lot to test that theory or not. This one seems pretty compacted, but Alexander, you can also confirm it's also very recent.
Yeah.
Is there any
It's
place
the one
on it
half
that's
doesn't have the other.
right? That's where we're at.
Alexander's going to start working from the top of the pile and start trying to clip.
Shut up, Siri.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Alexander starts excavating.
Yeah. Handing rocks back to whoever's behind me.
Should I probably spearhead this instead?
I don't know. I'm thinking Alexander, because he's going to be watching for signs that something may collapse.
Okay.
He's
Yeah,
going to
okay.
keep his investigation
I mean,
going.
yeah, we can do it in a way where Warden and Volunteer are doing the grunt work, but you can sort of supervise this and
He's the field
And-
supervisor.
Yeah.
and watch for it.
Besides, if Warden gets buried in a collapse, he doesn't need to breathe, so probably a better option.
Yeah. Okay. Alexander puts on his orange vest that says safety officer on it.
Oh, I wouldn't want to have to deal with Baldur's Gate chapter of OSHA. Are you kidding me? You guys don't have the gold to bribe your way out of that. Okay. So the two of you that are doing the most lifting, Valentina and Ward, go ahead and roll athletics checks, and Alexander, go ahead and roll. Just roll another. You can either roll an intelligence check or a perception check. It's not so much investigation, so much as is keeping
Okay,
an eye out.
so if you do
Perception, they're both the same.
Helm
do
guide my
perception,
path.
because I can give you assistance with it.
You could do guidance on an intelligence check too. Just not a saving throw.
No, I have. I can assist him because I
Oh,
have
proficiency. Gotcha.
proficiency.
Yeah, sorry. Give him assistance. I was just thinking guidance.
Do Warden roll?
Not yet. Are we rolling individually?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's less assisting each other and more,
Okay.
your individual amount of work.
We both rolled ass.
Athletic?
Because
What did you-
the tunnel is only
Oh.
about. It's only wide enough for 2 people to really do the brunt of the lifting. They can hand the rocks back to you, Moon, and you can stack them off to the side. But it's just the 2 of them doing the heavy lifting at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a 12 for Warden. What was
13 for Val.
13 for Volunteer.
Oh, there it is under the spell. Okay, and then we have was it a 10 for Alexander? Yep, 10.
He didn't do it with advantage.
Oh yeah, go ahead and roll again, Alexander. Because you have an assistant on the job site today. Pretty good assistant too, so an 18. Okay. So yeah, keeping an eye on it. And anytime anything at the top of the pile looks like it begins to shift a little bit, you alert Warden and Val and have them kind of start digging around that spot until they can safely move whatever is shifted, and make sure it's not gonna cause the ceiling to collapse inward. Occasionally, you may have to send, and we'll say this is how she assists. You send Caitlin up with a mending spell to fix a particular crack in the ceiling that looks a bit more dangerous than the others, and it seems to shore things up long enough to where you guys can keep digging it out. You don't know how big the collapse is. You've been digging cautiously this way for the past hour. And then, Alexander, you glance away from the ceiling and notice that Warden has just picked up a big rock at the base, and as he shifted it, you see what looks like a little bit of a discoloration to the stone right underneath his foot.
Alexander says, "Stop. Don't move." And he's going to drop down and take a close look at the discoloration.
It's white against the, kind of greenish gray stone. Looks like possibly chalk.
Does it look like writing or runes?
You only see like a single little point of a line sticking out from underneath all the rock.
I have detect magic. I don't have detect
Alexander has
magic.
detect magic too. But Alexander says, "Put that rock back where you put it very, very carefully."
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
What have you found here?
I will.
Likely an
Carefully lower back.
explosive room or a ward of some sort. And
Well,
then Alexander will ritually cast detect magic.
Okay. Once the ritual completes, you definitely get. Well, do you have him move that rock again so you can see it?
Yeah. Does it have to be visual? Do you have to see it to get a magic thingy from it?
If I'm not mistaken, that amount of stone would block detect magic. So you need at least a portion of it exposed to be able to trigger it.
It's 3 feet of dirt. Most things, when they have a restriction, is 3 feet dirt or stone. Let me check.
No, I'm pretty sure it's like an inch of lead, a foot of
This-
stone, 3 feet
This
of
spell,
dirt.
yeah, it's 1 foot of stone, dirt, or wood,
Mm.
1 inch of metal, or a thin sheet of lead. Everyone else step back. And we do. Or at least Val does.
Okay.
I do too.
So everyone steps back, and then who moves the stone? Is it Warden again?
Yeah, he says, "Okay, just pick it up just real slowly until I tell you to stop."
Before I back away, I slap. I tap Warden.
Hold. Warden, you are still unable to
Heal.
bring yourself to
Damn.
full health. I will do it for you.
Very well.
I tap Val on the back. She steps forward. Guidance.
Okay. And Val, this rock was already lifted up once before. It's fine. You pick it up, no problem. When Val does lift it, Alexander, you definitely get magic coming off that chalk, and it is abjuration magic.
What does that magic do?
Protection. Life of warding is one of the spells. in the Abjuration
Yeah.
School.
Is
It
there
is
any-
one of the
None
one of the only offensive ones, if I remember right.
We have no way of dispelling the magic.
Nope.
Yeah.
We can trigger it and probably cause even more of a cave-in. That's our only option, really.
Well, can we work around it without moving without disturbing what's the stone? Because if we work from the top, we should be able to get through without triggering the rune.
Does Glyph of Warding have to be exposed for it to work?
You're not 100% certain.
I'm asking our magic person.
Can I do an Arcana check?
Sure.
No clue.
Yep, he doesn't know.
Okay.
He knows that's an expensive spell, and he's never done it.
We could give it a try, but I don't think Warden should be in the front anymore because if it does go off,
But what if you get a test from behind?
he doesn't need to breathe, but if he
Just
gets...
how dangerous is this glyph? All this warding.
Can be from anywhere from inconsequential to extremely consequential. It is something that stores a spell.
Not that I
Effects of
think
another spell, at
anyone
least.
knows that in character.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty commonly known spell for clerics,
Yeah.
so Kate
I
could
would
understand
probably
that and say
plug
that.
Well, should I see if I know what goes on with that spell?
If you would like to go ahead and make your own check, sure.
Which check would it be?
Because it's something you haven't done before, I'd say it's purely academic, so it would be just an Arcana check for you.
Arcana. It's still a 0. Yeah, I don't know.
This is not one of the spells I was thinking about getting, so I wasn't paying attention
I
to
picture
it.
Caitlin just shrugging, like,
Is this active?
Oh, it's showing as active. It's glowing.
Or was it responsible for the cave-in the first place?
No.
Was it placed here under the cave-in?
Yeah, I
How's
think
that?
that's what happened. It was placed under the cave-in.
So
Oh,
that
no.
if somebody
Or-
moved the
or
rock...
more precisely, the cave-in was placed on top of the rune.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
hide it.
It was put there before the cave-in happened.
Well, from what you say, there is likely some sort of thing that causes it to
Yeah,
activate
I think
in some
it's
way.
Uncovered.
Ah,
And so I
But we
think if
picked
we
up the rock a couple of times. It hasn't triggered.
no, that's because it was only a corner, a little tip.
well, perhaps whatever surrounds this rune, if it is uncovered, then that is enough to set it off.
Yeah, but if we just work off to one side where we aren't working over the glyph, should be able to avoid
Alright.
setting it up.
Looking at the glyph, and I start doing this like measuring thingy with my hands, trying to figure out how big the glyph would be
You have no way of telling.
with
Like-
the exposed side.
There's not an.
Shell.
There's like a single, like the end of a line, and you have nothing to judge it based off of.
Hmm.
And you don't know, like, you guys don't know enough about the spell to know if there's a standard size of the glyph, if the size of the glyph can be changed. You just don't have enough to go on, and there's no curved section that you can see to try and measure or anything like that. You could potentially find that if you move some more rocks, but that obviously has its own potential dangers. So
I think as long as we're careful to keep it covered, we should be able to get through.
Do you think that this rune is dangerous enough that it might be able to kill one of us?
no idea. It's not a spell I've studied, so I really don't know anything
big the
about that
boom
much
would be.
about it. I can
Well.
pretty sure it's not a warlock spell at all.
It is not out of character.
Nope.
I was just
Bards,
looking-
wizards, clerics, and maybe druids, I think.
Yeah, only a boon from a cleric could actually do this from our group.
Yeah.
If we think that we can continue in some modicum of safety, then perhaps we should. We need to be quite careful.
Okay, so
The alternative is simply waiting until nightfall at this point.
work
Yeah, but they're
closer
alerted.
to
I
the
think
wall.
Yeah. I think if we come in from the underneath, they won't really be expecting that.
Yeah, they have this pretty well covered with the cave-ins and everything. They probably don't think anybody's coming this way. This is why I want to pursue this as much as we possibly can, but I don't want to get us killed either.
That
So-
is the concern.
If I were a paranoid person and I was setting these traps, I guess it would depend on how much money I would be willing to throw at it. If I would just put one, or if I would put one in the middle and then some on the sides. I'm eyeing the wall as I say this.
That's why I'm thinking we dig out from the top, because they won't be able to put a glyph there.
On this,
Yeah, top of the tunnel.
they can't put one on the ceiling?
Yeah, because that's where they collapsed it.
Oh, right. You're right. That is where they collapsed it. All right, we could try that.
Okay, so is that the plan? You're gonna continue to try digging out from the top?
Yeah.
I guess I'm reluctant. But yeah.
Be very, very careful. Keeping our eyes out for any indication of another glyph.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so same kind of work arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warden Volunteer, go ahead and give me 2 more athletics checks. And Alexander, go ahead and give me another investigation check with advantage, and I assume guidance.
Okay, that's what control for advantage.
Alt.
Whoops, that was a misclick. Oh man, that sucks.
Ah,
God damn it.
Is that it's an investigation? I can't help you with that. I'm going
I
to...
clicked on the wrong thing.
Oh, you can't help him with investigation.
I can't.
Sorry, I thought you did before. My bad. You can still give him
It
guidance if
was
you want to.
perception.
perception last time.
Yeah, I'm going to be really looking out for that glow.
What glow?
Val? Yeah.
The glow of the glyph.
There wasn't a glow. He just saw chalk.
Oh, okay, I'm looking for the chalk.
Yeah, that's, I was just confused by what glow we were talking about.
All right. So
Um,
Volunteer
I
is a
thought-
total of Volunteer is a total of a 15 for her athletics. I forget the second guidance by accident.
I thought
I'm going
rolled
to.
higher than... I thought it was higher than a 3.
I'm going to
Here.
also look out for the chalk.
Sure. Go
Got
ahead
a
and make your roll.
9. So
9 for Warden, 15 for Val. Got it. So Alexander did not actually have advantage. My mistake on that. So it was a 15 plus. Or were you giving him the guidance, Caitlin, or were you using it for yourself?
I was going to give it to him.
Okay. So that's a 17 for Alexander with the guidance. That's a 9 for Caitlin, and Moon has a 21. Okay. Okay. So, over the course of the next half hour, you guys continue to remove some of the rock from the top, clearing just enough space to hopefully be able to, like belly crawl forward and get through that way. Moon notices it first. And then shortly after that, Alexander notices it. As Warden and Valentina are, I imagine, Warden probably like in the section that has been cleared at the top, there's like maybe a 2-foot crawl space, and Warden's pretty much prone in that and handing further rocks back to Valentina, unless you guys want to say otherwise.
I suppose that works.
Okay.
Whoever's in more danger, let it be Valentina.
You guys don't know, that's why I'm asking.
I'm okay with that being the case. If it ends up me being in the more danger, I have a backup pretty much ready to go. So it's fine.
Jeez.
He's got 20 of them. You know in Avatar when you see all the statues lined up, that's all the past lives? That's him, but for future lives. And each time one character dies, the eyes light up on the next statue.
So.
Perfect.
Alright, so...
so continuing to dig out this crawl space and moving forward. It's a lot slower now because the work has to, be more careful, and it's a bit more unevenly divided. It seems to be going okay. And then, Moon, you don't see any new sign of chalk on the ceiling that's been cleared out, but you do begin to see a glow, and you look down and see that little bit of that. I assume you guys covered it up again, that piece that you had exposed to detect magic. You see a little bit of a glow coming from underneath that rock.
It's glowing!
And then it explodes outward, as, not that you guys were aware, but the trigger for the glyph was a certain amount of weight to be removed from the top of it. Yeah, Moon says it's glowing, and then there's a rush of air, and sound seems to flee from the tunnel, and there's only a split second for you guys to register this, and then it explodes upward into the collapsed pile, slamming both Warden and Valentina into the ceiling and sending rock flying out toward the rest of you like a claymore mine has just exploded. And we're going to freeze frame right before it actually impacts any of you. Pretty much right after Moon says it's glowing, and we freeze frame right there, and we'll find out what happens next week.
Gosh.
Lovely.
They're smart. They set the glyphs, collapse the tunnel, and when they set the glyph, it was to remove a certain amount of weight.
But he's heavy. He's heavy.
Why do you think he had to dig so far in to offset the weight that was removed?
Okay.
It didn't work for Indiana Jones. It ain't gonna work for you guys, especially when you don't even know it's happening.
I've removed more than 300 and some odd pounds of weight. Gotcha.
Easy. Yeah. And it was a decently high number because, again, they're smart. They knew there was a whole, tunnel on top of it, essentially. They didn't want, like, a rat to climb onto it and then jump off and set off the glyph. So it's a significant amount of weight that has to be removed. I'm kind of expecting maybe some of that tunnel.
We're gonna die.
We'll see.
Well, it was good playing Moon, but I have a backup character.
Oh, you guys will be fine. It's not that bad. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
It's the monster that's on the other side waiting for
Yeah,
us.
exactly. See, Stuart knows what's up.
I would have you reference back to what I posted before.
Had a plan? Yeah.
No. The sword don't kill.
Swords don't kill.
DMs do.
Humans do.
That's not accurate. Poor player choices, dude. This is the second time you guys have dealt with a cave-in. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Bye.
Bye.
Hope you guys had fun. I'll see you next week.
See you later.